even those of our friends who have been arguing, some were saying, well, maybe we should just try and stay the way it is. I don't know how they can say we should stay the way it is. His decentralization policy is signed in 21 years ago, no sign. But even those who say, let's try and go back to 1961, I asked them, I said, how will you get to 1961? The guy has told you his Cameroon is one and indivisible. What we are doing in the governing council is to accept that. We agree. La République du Cameroon is one and indivisible. But because we are not part of that La République, we will just go away and form Southern Cameroons, which will also be one and indivisible, period. Mr. Bobia must understand, as we stand now, our conditions are clear. The experience of January is very visible. We will not have any discussion on this issue until he starts by releasing Mancho BBC, Penn Terence, and every one of our brothers and sisters arrested since October till date. We are not ready for any call for any negotiations without those people being released, because when they release them, at least it takes us back to January. It brings us back to where Agbobala and Fontemniba were calling for negotiations. Then again, the lessons of January are very clear. Those negotiations happened in Bamenda, and we know what happened on the 16th of January. So what the next condition we have said is, when we have to negotiate, I didn't say if, because ultimately we'll get there. When we have to negotiate, those negotiations will not happen in Cameroon. They must happen outside. They must happen in the presence of a mediator of caliber, preferably the United Nations, the African Union, the European Union, and we want to call on the table France, the United Kingdom, Nigeria, and hopefully the United States of America. These players must come to the table to watch us make our case. We are not going to negotiate on the conditions of federation. We are not going to negotiate on the conditions of his decentralization. We are going to the table to negotiate the terms of our separation. And I've insisted, when those negotiations will be called, when Mr. Biya eventually becomes sane enough to call for negotiations, when they call for those negotiations, if you see members of the governing council sitting around the table, as if that's the team that represents you, those negotiations will be null and void. It would be an inclusive team from our side. We would have to have Agbobala would be there, Mancho BBC would be there, Justice Ayapola Bine will be there, Dr. Fontemniba will be there, amongst many others. Of course, there will be members of the governing council there. So this is our constitution. We have already constituted our team. That will be at the discussion. And if you look at that table and you don't see any of these people have names, including the members of the governing council, you tell us that we are not going to respect the outcome of those negotiations. However, if between now and when those negotiations happen, any one of us, including the chairman of the governing council, betrays the cause of these negotiations, betrays the cause of this struggle, that person ceases to be qualified to be in that negotiation. So if you turn on your TV tomorrow and you hear that the chairman of the governing council has said school should resume, he ceases to be part of our negotiating team. As a matter of fact, he might as well go and join Paul Biya on his own side. I'm saying this because we have a mandate from our people to make sure we go there to represent our people. And until tomorrow, nobody amongst our people has told us that we should go and change the course. This struggle will be in vain if we change what we started from. It is a shame that we asked for something in November. We asked for something in October. Everything the government has done so far has been typical of the government. It's been camouflage. They said they will open a NAM or whatever. Before they even start opening a NAM, Paul Biya's daughter gets admitted in an exam she did not write. The one thing we are ignoring in this Cameroon is that the policy to completely wipe us out is a very scaring statistic. We have more bilingual schools in the southern Cameroons than in the rest, all of the Republic of Cameroon put together. All. That is not an accident. When you create a bilingual school, even when they try to appease teachers, what did they say? We are recruiting 1,000 bilingual teachers. They didn't say 1,000 Southern Cameroonians. 1,000 bilingual teachers. If you take that list and you walk down, there will be 10 of our boys. 9,990 will be their people, because they would have gone to some bilingual school. And that's why a bilingual school in our region is the greatest threat to our existence. As I said in Atlanta the other day, our parents and our forefathers were English in culture and tradition and expression. We now, some of us don't even know, but they will want to make us believe that we are bilingual. If we let this happen tomorrow, our children will be French speaking. It is a very careful strategy to take us out of our values and our culture. And that's why we must resist this with everything we've got. We came here to let you people know how serious this is. Every move of Mr. Paul Biya is engineered somewhere else. He is an operator to do what they tell him to do. But every of those moves is calculated to the letter. The weddings of that release note were very careful. Nothing is done by error. And when you read those things with the eye, I'm not a legal person, I'm an IT person, but when you take your time from the position we now stand and analyze everything they do, you see how sinister they are. And the more you understand where we are coming from, the more you get angry with why we found ourselves here, and the more you realize we have one choice and one choice only. As I said, we are on a divorce mission in a marriage that never was in the first place. As we go, Mr. Paul Biya has a choice to accompany us nicely out of this marriage so that we become two very good neighborly nations. Or he forces our hand out and then we become two very unfriendly neighbors. The option today, the choice he has is his today. As they say, you make your choices and ultimately your choices make you. He has a choice to make for that, for those two nations today. I pray he follows the voice of reason and lets us go peacefully. If he doesn't, we must go. And when we go, we'll be two unfriendly nations. I cannot tell you the number of messages I receive on my social media pages now where people are saying, you have to tell him that we'll build a wall. And trust me, the essence of the wall, as symbolic as it sounds, is because we know that 4 years from the day we leave, when anybody crosses the Mungo, the person will understand why we are in this fight. 4 years from the day we move, anybody who leaves Babajo, before they get to Santa, they will wonder and say, my God, now I understand. Because this is a wonderful generation. As terrible as our history has been, those of us who are alive today are very blessed. We have an opportunity to build from ground zero. Every institution we had before has been damaged. The CDC is a name. Produce Marketing Board, gone. Our cooperative banks, gone. Everything has gone. As sad as that situation is, guess what? We have a unique opportunity in this generation to build a nation from ground up. I have a friend of mine in Nigeria. He's built cities from nothing with flyovers and shopping malls. If he has done that in Nigeria, what can he do in our place? I was joking with a friend the other day. He called me and said, oh, the Republic of Cameroon was beaten in a match in Nigeria 4-0. I said, is that what puzzled you? That should not be what puzzled you. Did you see the football stadium in which that game was played? That was in Akwa Ibom. Akwa Ibom is one of the newest states in Nigeria. And that's the beauty of having to build all over. And I pray, God, with your support, that when we turn around a few years from now, we'll show our children, not by the scars on our body, but by the edifice we leave and say, this is why we fought this fight. I want to thank all of you. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening.
Yeah. I hope the camera is there fine. But this man don't move my feet.
Yes. Politics and international relations. I'll be SAPC.
I hope you make it.
No, so that's how we can do it. That's history of political science.
Then, Roland, take my phone.
No. Open Rolando.
Start program, we'll have that later.
Gate, open gate.
Don't do that thing.
My money can only work here. You don't want to only work. You see our boss.
Good evening. Welcome to this special edition of Ambaperspective. Wherever you're watching from, we hope you're excited as we are in the studio. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I feel like jumping. I feel like, actually breakdancing because it's been a very happy day and sad one, of course. And we are happy because we've shown the world and La Republic that we govern our territory. And we are saddened that despite the celebrations of this day, some of our brothers have lost their lives. And we are going to talk about that more as we get into the program. And we have some guests with us in the studio today.
We have today with us on studio again Mr. Patrick Ayo. Mr. Patrick Ayo is the CEO of Nexus, a leadership development company in South Africa, and he's also a PhD, a student in leadership and personal development. All right. Yeah. And also we have Mr. Sufi with us in the studio today, who is also a presenter at SCPC, but he is standing in today as our guest. Just so we discuss some of the items, some of the things, the updates of the struggle that was today. So we have Mr. Sufi, who is a master's student with the University of Johannesburg, studying political science and international relations. So welcome, guys.
If you doubted that we control Southern Cameroon, today has proven to you, those of you who do not still believe that we control that territory of the world. Today we have proven to the world, we have proven to those who are still doubting Thomases that Southern Cameroon belongs to the people of Southern Cameroon, and that nobody, whether it is Mr. Biya or his government or France or whoever, nobody can take that from us. And we are very excited that our people back at home heeded to the call of the governing council to come out today in their numbers and demand the release of our brothers and our sisters in the dungeons of La Republique. And they came out. Some people may have been surprised, they were not, because we had totally known that our people are for this struggle. And I'm short of words.
Yeah, we should be short of words.
And low lights of the day, Bolivia addresses an empty UN hall. Today, I mean, which head of state would sit down to listen to an entity like that? Somebody who kills people, he calls his own people, brutally, his government brutally rapes and abducts students from one country to another. You could see clearly, CRTV, they focused the camera on Bolivia because there were no people in that hall listening to the man. So it's, we have shown our resolve today. The leadership of the governing council, the chairman, has already addressed our people based on the unfortunate circumstance that happened in Manu, where a dual shot killed a comrade there. And it's really sad that this La Republique people, they cannot change. They say even as much as we spend time washing it, the guy that will never take off his mask.
Yeah, of course. Monthly, we've got one person who was shot.
Yeah.
And we also have one person who was shot in Boya. And of course, the two that have been killed in the Northwest region or in Bamenda, where one was shot in Santa and another was shot somewhere around the province. But one of the things that my brothers them for Southern Cameroon and Amazonia, it really made my heart fine today. That how we will see Mami them 70 years, 80 years, 90 years, they come out with peace plant to tell the Republic say we are picking our grand, picking them and ourselves, we don't tire for this brutality, for this marginalization. And that bell will we, this generation 56 years after, we don't take and say freedom, restoration, independence. That might be the video for our back. Now, wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing that you can see that with our parents and our grandparents, we have decided that we are going and we are living that Republic for good.
The entire Southern Cameroons today proved our resolve. We have proven again to the world that we are a people, and we have proven to the world that we no longer want to be part of La Republique. CRTV moments ago announced that it was, a peaceful protest to return to normalcy. And I want to ask the people on CRTV, does this flag look like La Republique flag to them? Does this flag look like people who are willing to stay in a country that has not developed even an inch for the past 24 years with one people in power? So, Mr. Ayok, just looking at the videos and the people standing in today, we don't want your reaction about the reactions of what you think.
I think the way our people have responded has been so overwhelming, Leadership is influence. You don't have to listen to you. You influence people. So dictators try to force people, intimidate people, to listen to them, to succumb to what they want. What our people have done, is going back to the basics of Albert Einstein. Einstein said, willpower is the strongest determinant that moves mountains and make people do good things. And he uses the concept of the steam engine. Remember in one of our discussions I mentioned about the steam engine, that our people are like a steam engine. When the steam engine gets warm, nobody stops that engine. So we have just proven to the people that that engine is so hot for them, it's just too hot for them. And our president used the metaphor that if the kitchen is so hot for you, you must just move out. They should do the gentleman thing and just move out of our territory because our territory is so hot. That steam engine is hot. Our people are good. And I have to say my condolences to the heroes that have fallen and their names will get into the history of Southern Cameroon. We'll be having a Southern Cameroon museum, just as South Africans are having the South African apartheid museum. We have what is happening to our people is a kind of apartheid, black against black apartheid, and that is the most serious, acute aspect of apartheid. And what I'm going to say to my Manu people, and I will speak to them in my language, around Manu, where they are one. Una uwe enozi, but we are free everywhere, chang, obasika free everywhere. And spirit you una for, una no. And following the history of Manu, you know, we fought the Germans during the Sanakan War. You guys don't know Sanakan in Manu. But during the Sanakan War, we defeated the Germans. There in Manu, during the First World War. We defeated them. And if you look at S.A. George in Manu history, he fought against oppression. He was pushing for this independence of Southern Cameroon. And the bloody regime killed him. And if you he talked about Chief Nyenti of Bachontai, he also fought for those things. And they killed him. But this time, you cannot kill our people. And for our heroes in the Northwest region and the whole of Southwest that have fallen today, your blood will not go in vain. The battle has just begun. Ours is a peaceful demonstration. Ours is civil disobedience. Ours is the use of the civilized method in the world. We use litigation. We use peaceful engagement. And if the brutal regime fails, it is the use of force that can bring us to subjugation. We have just proven to them, our people have just proven to them that we don't need any other person to govern us. Our people will be self-governed because the right to self-determination is a human right problem. And I would like to say, I will say thank you to our women all over the world, the Taku women. I'm so overwhelmed. I went to my knees when I saw these beautiful women. Ray, what do you think? They came on board and were doing great things.
Wow. Today, they surprised us. We didn't know the document was coming when we went to the UN office in Pretoria today. And the ladies, they arrived majestically. It was, you know, it was wow to behold. Yeah. And Ray, we continue seeing pictures like this. It is really a pity. Yeah. I don't understand what Bier was even addressing the UN for.
It's an empty hall.
An empty hall, just to come in there, yeah, you could see how bloody it is. And if I could take you guys back a little, in America, during the American Revolution, Patrick Henry, one of the delegates, and a patriotic American said, "Give me freedom or give me death." They were addressing that to the British when British colonized America. So we are saying, as Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians, that give us our freedom or give us death.
And you know, so I watched one of the videos, and the guys in America, American journalists were telling them, guys, what are you doing here?
Can we just talk about
what are you doing here? You belong to
the images that we are seeing right now. You know, this is horrible. We cannot in any way to look at our brothers who have been killed like this and really be happy.
Yeah, we cannot. And what we need to do, these people are falling because it is that determination, their resilience. They've gone as heroes, and there are so many. When we take out one hero, there will be another hero. And we are all the heroes. We make Southern Cameroon, and we are going to make that country proud again. You understand? So we are going to make sure all the Southern Camerooners, those that are hiding in their holes, they now understand, you know, that this is the time. It is high time for us to come out for the sake of these guys that have fallen, to make sure that we conclude this fight. Yeah. It's not a long fight. You don't need to take it too long. The enemy has been neutralized.
Yes. And it is a pity that La République will go out there on the day they claim their dictator president is addressing the UN, and they will go out there on such a day and shoot young Southern Cameroonians as young as 20 years old on a day they say it's a United Nations General Assembly number 72. It's quite a pity. We cannot negotiate with this type of a government. We cannot. What are we negotiating for? When on a UN General Assembly, when their dictator is speaking, they are killing our fellow brothers and sisters. I saw a picture of a young girl, as young as 18, who has been shot in the stomach. And we, as Amazonians all over the world, say, enough is enough. With such killings going on, there's no way we can turn back. We are going, and we are going for independence.
What we need to tell our people is that...
Indeed, the message that I always pass to our people is, this is joyous because for the first time in 55 years, we feel like we are freeing ourselves. We have already freed ourselves mentally and it's just the occupational freedom of taking out the colonial regime from our land that is going to happen. But in these times, we need to really stand by the families of people like this who are paying the ultimate price. These guys, they must remain in our hearts, and we must take responsibility in our communities to offer as much assistance to their families as we possibly can. We should go out of our way to help those families to cope with this disaster until our government is installed in homeland to be able to take care of people in situations of emergency like this one. But we, the people of Southern Cameroons, must start taking care of our own. Make the families of those who have lost their lives during this tragic moment to feel that it was worth it and it was for a good cause by standing with them. The people who are in prison, you need to be standing with their families in a very special way. Those are breadwinners in their families, and now they are in jail. They've been in jail for over 6 months. The ones that they continuously abduct. When this happens in our communities, let our first fallback position be to support, to help out the family that is in trouble, and we should really stand by them.
Today I thought we had a peaceful and non-eventful day. I was very happy that no one was killed in the half part of the day, and when we started coming back from our own protests, we started seeing images of people, of blood, and it saddened me because our people had not even stones in their hands to threaten these colonial soldiers. They had nothing. These guys, their lives were not at risk, so much so that they can kill a single Southern Cameroonian. And one life is one too much. We cannot sit here and we are happy that we've had a successful day when 1 or 2 of our own are lying dead in the mortuary. But then, this is what is going to strengthen our resolve.
Yeah.
This is what's going to strengthen our resolve. The more they kill us, the more we will fight. And that's why I still hear the voice of our Honorable Weber, who said that they will kill unto the last Southern Cameroonian before they take that land. Yes. And that is where we are right now. Yes. We are going to fight to the last person. We are going to fight to the last person. The Republic will not succeed in this. They will not take this land from us anymore. We have taken our land. Today we are going to keep this until the first, where we are going to celebrate and commemorate our independence. And from there forward, we will be governing ourselves.
Yes. This takes me back to the interview F.R.A gave when he resigned from the system, where he said, the union between the Southern Cameroons and East Cameroon or the Republic was meant to be brotherly. Yeah. But before they opened your eyes, the military was everywhere. Gendarmes were beating our fathers, raping our mothers, beating our young brothers and sisters, and everything was changed. And up till today, you could still see that brutality. How can a force that of law and order send troops out to shoot people who are holding a peace plant? That doesn't make sense.
You see, an average Southern Cameroonian is a very clean man. He's a very clean person. Our women are clean to the core. Our men are so clean to the core. Our children are so clean. You remember our parents in those days when they had this Anglo-Saxon style of life, way of life. You see? But when we came together with these people, they injected that venom of corruption.
Bad blood.
Yeah. And now, if you are not corrupt, then you are stupid enough.
Stupid.
So that's why our people have realized that corruption goes nowhere. You take the Bible and put in front of you to use people for nothing. And our people have stood that they have understood what it meant to subjugate people. The meaning of enslavement, the meaning of taking away your freedom, the meaning of sacrificing your life to seize that freedom. And those that have fallen today, people protesting, and that's why Donald Trump, the President of the United States, said, to hell with those regimes that take internet, away internet from people. To hell with those regimes that kill university students that protest with no arms. And that exactly has happened. today. And we are saying that no level of intimidation will stop us, because this train, you know, the train never stops until it reaches its destination.
Yes.
We pray for the lives of our people. We always honor them. As we said, some of our street names will be named with the names of those heroes. After those heroes, we will be having the Ambazonia Museum. There are a lot of things that we'll be doing. But you know, when you are fighting, if somebody falls, a hero falls, you don't spend so much time mourning. We keep that heroes aside. When we finish the fight, we get back to them.
Yes.
That's what we'll be doing. And as Derek has said, we will not forget about our people. We'll give them the necessary support, psychologically and physically, what they need, especially the family that are involved in this disaster.
Yes.
Psychologically, it's so overwhelming for them to take it. But they believe in the power of freedom. And it is the power of freedom that will move us to everywhere that we want to go. And we are sending a strong message to those that feel that we are clowns, or those that feel that we'll get hungry and get on board, or those that feel that with intimidation we'll get scared and start listening to them. The time has passed. No intimidation has ever worked. I'm telling you. When the people say no, there is nobody that can intimidate them. Not here, not even Issa Chiroma, not the best general that they have. Our people are out. We don't have weapons, but we have brains. Yes. We have people that can do those things. Yes. And therefore, we are out to conclude it. Come 1st of October, the restoration date, we are making sure that we restore our independence that was stolen from us. We make sure that our people become self-reliant, they become self-governance. We have to give the leadership to our people.
Yes.
They have to govern themselves. We have to link up with them. We keep the DOs and those rascals aside. Those clowns, those thieves, we have to keep them aside. We make sure that the leadership goes to our people. And therefore, from there, we can connect with them in a very meaningful way. That's the message we're passing.
So let us let our people also celebrate.
Please, sorry. Yeah. This is my village in Benin. I just want us to know.
Yes, and the poor people of Benin.
This is my village in Benin.
Okay, come.
Can we just watch? Because the truth is this.
Yeah, but that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say, let us watch the videos with our people, with the volume, listen to what they are saying. The people of Benin, they went to the police station, and they released everybody from the police station. They hoisted their flag. I mean, it was as brave as what we saw in the palace on Saw last week. Our people have decided that they will self-determine, and there is no turning back. There is no going back. And anybody who's still on the fence, I just don't know what to say. I just don't know how to say. I don't know what to say.
You know, why I'm proud of Benin today, where I come from, is the fact that over the months, I've not had a single picture or single person coming from there and telling us how they are doing and how they are fighting for this struggle. But today, I just feel so proud that I'm a Benin man, because seeing what they've done today at the gendarmerie there at Chimoko, on the quarter place there, Chimoko, that's where, just next to the hospital there in Benin. What they've done today, it sweetens my heart so much, and there's no other way to say than to thank the people of Benin for being so radical, and I would like them to continue like this.
And see, the problem is that the best thing that we have, the most interesting thing about this story is that it's not about old brains, it's about the youth. When the youth mean business, Apartheid was defeated by the youth.
Yeah, of course.
They came, Hector Peterson, who led the youth of South Africa, to make sure to hell with this Afrikaner thing, So our people now, our youths have said enough is enough. And I must raise my hat to our Benin brothers at home, because they have made a strong statement. And yes, also, and even the people in Manfi, they made a very strong statement. And I watched some of the videos that were coming from Lebialam. They made a very strong statement. And Boya also made a strong statement. And there are a lot of people, our Ansar warriors. They stand their authorities. A lot of people, the list is so overwhelming.
Minister's village today, sitting in Yang, in Good.
This is Bamenda, I think so.
Massive demonstration in Yang's village.
Telling
sending a clear message to him that if he wants to stay with Larikomi, let him stay. The people of Ndu, the people of Noni today throughout Ambazonia today,
Yes.
people made a very clear statement. They are no longer going to continue to be part of La Republique. But watching all those images from home, in as much as they gladden my heart, at the same time, they make me want to cry.
Yeah.
It is, the condition at home is appalling.
It's appalling.
It is a terrible, terrible condition to behold with the eyes. You look at this, you look at the people, you see suffering. This is a country that has been deprived of everything in the world. And I think we have a lot of work to do.
Yes.
As a people, we need
in
to get to work immediately and start rebuilding.
You see, what that goes to, I always use this concept, and I love it so much. The issue of primitive accumulation. You know, you bring people to be just simple laborers, so that they will never take part in the means of production. And if you don't take part in the means of production, it means you don't benefit from the end product. And that's what has happened with our people.
Yeah.
We had all our things, Cameroon Bank, PWD, you can name cooperatives that were livelihood, that guaranteed our livelihood security. And when the regime came, they decided to destroy all those things so that we become beggars.
Yes.
And when we're vulnerable. And when there is vulnerability, you don't have a decision. You don't shape things that make you. You become a beggar rather than a chooser. So our people have decided that we will no longer beg. We shape what's define us. We become shapers rather than beggars. We become, when you shape things, when you contribute in things, you'll be able to make choices. And therefore, if you're able to make choices, you make the best.
Yes.
Our people have not been able to make the right choices. They have not been able to choose because they don't have alternative. For 56 years.
For 56.
And that must end. And that's what the people are saying.
That's what people are saying.
It has to end.
Yes,
That's
put it in another form. Our people have been for 56 years politically marginalized, economically exploited, and socio-culturally discriminated.
Yeah.
And the issue of corruption, let me just go down a little. Where even today you hear CRTV, the crooked CRTV will come up and say, our people were marching for peace.
Yeah, that's right.
While BBC is breaking the news that Anglophone Cameroonians or Southern Cameroonians or Ambazonians are marching against La Republique dictatorship.
Yeah.
Not corruption. I want to say for the more than 3 decades of my life.
Let's just rewind the tape. And we realized that a few months ago, when we started this thing, they were beating our leaders, were taking to jail, and the great man from BBC is still languishing in jail. And we don't have any way to stop.
Yes.
And we could realize that when they pretended the fake protest that they made in Yaoundé and Douala, what happened? They gave them the food, they gave them drinks, because they are thought, they think they are real human beings. They are real human beings.
Yes.
And animals were trying to protest. What they do? They decided to shoot those animals or maybe take them to somewhere where they belong to.
I think what we will do justice to our viewers is we just get our technical team to play back to the videos. And we just play the ones in the diaspora in South Africa today. We demonstrated.
We had a vision. Just coming from the UN building in Pretoria, we now just carried on.
There was demonstrations in Oslo. There were demonstrations in Switzerland.
The United States.
There will be demonstrations in the United States any moment from now, and we will have those.
We'll be talking until we go to the US.
Yes.
So we call on our technical guys to put all the videos. Let's show as many as possible all over the country, all over the world.
Together and
celebrate our people.
And after that, we're going to come back and talk more about what has been happening around the world.
So we're just going to go on to those videos with volume now, and we will watch those videos, and we'll come back and start analyzing what really went down.
Yes.
Thank you.
And of course, we thank our people out there.
Another flag has been posted at the junction entering the Mancon's Palace. As you can see, the Amazonians are jubilating that they have taken their destiny in their hands.
Constitution about life. Mamenda. Constitution about life. Boy, we're not here, but I'm in a cafe show. Did people do nothing? Police didn't know nothing. Know nothing. Amba Oye.
basis.
Indeed, we believe that you are celebrating anywhere you are right now. Any Amazonian is celebrating. Welcome to studio. We have a new guest, Mr. Chebefo Roland. Mr. Chebefo, welcome to studio, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we have been over the last 20 minutes watching videos of the happenings at home today. We are still to go on to videos of what has happened in the diaspora, but if you have a word to say before we go on, sir.
Dear Ambazonians, spectators, it's a pleasure to be here today on this very eventful day where we finally have proven to the world that we've taken over our country. But before we even proceed, it would be a good thing that we all stand up here in the studio and sing our national anthem in honor of those who have been killed. Can we do that?
Yes, please.
It is but befitting that we honor their memory, because when you find peaceful protesters go out in their millions across every single village, every single household, every single county, every single town, and declare peacefully with their green leaves that they are tired of oppression and they want to take over their land and they're ready to go, and then you find the same elements or agents of oppression coming in, shooting and killing them. It is really saddening. But we have become used to these killings, and we have become used to this oppression, and that is why we've decided to end it. And we are right at the end, and we want to send a message very clearly today that no amount of killing, no amount of anything that anybody has thought of or conceived in their minds is going to stop the people of Ambaland from ensuring that they restore their independence. This is a message that should be clear now to the oppressor a long time ago. I would even want to go further to say that La République will be saving themselves a lot of money in terms of bullets and guns and machine guns, and probably investing that money in their dilapidated country than continue buying those, because that would never in any way stop the people of Ambazonia from restoring their independence. Even if it was one last person who was left standing, and that person had to be the one remaining alive to declare, to restore that independence, you will kill us all. So please save yourself the killing. Save yourself the killing. And to our people, I want to say clearly here today that I have never been so humbled by a people. I am sure that the world today is looking at the Gulf of Guinea and is saying they are a people who are a people of honorable intention. Cameroon, a people who in unity, under the barrel of guns, threat, all kinds of decrees signed by all kinds of deals, still come out in their numbers in millions to make a point clear that they are tired and they need to have an environment where they can be able to grow their children and that can have equal opportunities like any other children. And hence, it would be very, very shameful for the international community if I could say that if they were to watch a people make so much effort without arms, watch a people over, after having gone through oppression for decades and still come up under the barrel of the gun, make so much effort and still come out without guns and are killed, and they keep doing it and keep doing it, and the international community is watching. Then as a younger generation that is coming on, my dream is to sit in the United Nations and these places and really wonder how they come about these accords and they make these decisions. Because I've never, it has never made sense to me that it is good business when it comes to human life to come when many have been killed, whereas the point has been made clear and the people have shown in every way that they don't want this union anymore because it's an oppressive union. They are second-class citizens, and they've made it very clear that they know what they want, and it is their right for them to live a good life. Whether you whosoever you are, the life that you live and you enjoy, every single Southern Cameroonian also deserves the right to live that life, and hence I'm appealing to the international community to, while thanking those who have been coming on board, because we've been having a lot of countries that have started raising their voices, but appealing on the international community to do more so that we don't get into a situation where a people who are peaceful people will eventually become radicalized. To a point where we would get into a situation where young people would then decide to pick up arms. And at that point, it will even be difficult for them to listen to their leaders, because this is really painful. It is about your brother, your cousin being killed for no reason. The only reason that they are being killed is because they want to have their own fair share of their own country, their own motherland. The only reason they are being killed is because you have another country that has so much arrogance, that has become so used to subjecting another group of people to oppression that they cannot believe it, that today these people are saying we want to stand on our own and build an enabling environment for ourselves. And this is really painful. And my heart really goes out to all those who have been shot, killed today, to those families. We stand with you, we remain with you, and we want to promise you that the sacrifices of your families are not in vain. We want to promise you that regardless of what happens, Paul Biya and every single other mercenary around him, those mercenaries who are putting on coats, calling themselves statesmen, will pay. It is not the first time that is happening, and it is difficult for me to understand why they don't learn. We have a list of African presidents from your Mobutus and all of that who thought they were invincible, and they washed it and kept this arrogance until finally they were not even able to live in their own country, and they died as puppets. And that is what is going to befall the Biya regime and all its ambassadors and people if they do not wake up to the call of the people now and make sure that the people of Southern Cameroon also are able to live in a dignified way and are able to claim their land and be able to develop it, be able to allow their children to have good education, be able to live in a country where a police officer does not make your life miserable every single day because he has a uniform, be able to live in a country where you don't have to pay bribe for every single thing, be able to live in a country where you are respected and you progress according to your abilities. These are simple, basic human rights that we ask for. These are things that we must have, and we cannot have them in the United Republic. It has to be in Amazonia.
Yeah, thank you so much, Roland, for that interjection. Yes, indeed, our hearts in the studio are really bleeding when we look at the images of the people at home that have been murdered today again by the forces of the Republic in Manu. They were actually shot by a duo. And if anybody wakes up tomorrow morning or the day after tomorrow in Southern Cameroon and walks into the office of any Jew for any reason, for me, I would say that person is a traitor. These people are evil to the core. How can an administrator take up a gun? This wasn't even done by a military person. Take up a gun and shoot a protester who's protesting without without stones, with green leaves to signify that they are protesting peacefully. Talking about the whole front today, some significant, the significant news is that our people came out all to show their resolve across the country. But another significant thing that we noticed is that in Bello, Honorable Varistus John led the crowd in Bello. He marched in front of the crowd, and also Honorable Mbadam in Batigo has said he's not returning to La Republic Parliament until there is clarity. So these are very significant shifts, and I think that we should start by discussing them so that our people understand. And also the parliamentarians that are still there who haven't taken stands now, they should understand and they should know where they stand, you know, because there's no room for standing on the fence right now as it stands. People have lost lives, people have lost their livelihoods, and there is just no room for people standing on the fence. You are either with the oppressor or you are with the oppressed. So I just want our guests in studio, starting with Mr. Ayok, to comment on the two significant political shifts, like Honorable Mbandam declaring that he's no longer returning to the Republic Parliament, and Honorable Varistus leading the march in Bello to demand for the release of our people.
I think, Derek, thank you for that opportunity. And I want to salute our viewers again, and our lions and our great people, the warriors of Southern Cameroons, for showing the resilience, for standing up for their freedom. And great people always say freedom is never negotiable. You don't beg for your freedom. You take it by force. And that is why what we are doing and what they are doing at home in the face of a brutal dictator. And now when I go to the news, the recent news about our parliamentarian, Honorable Mbandam and Bello, I think they took a long time to come to this decision. And it is better late than never. And what we're saying is that maybe some people will try to relate this aspect with the cabinet members that ministers should resign. We didn't choose ministers. We didn't elect for ministers to lead us. We elected our parliamentarians to represent us. And what they have done, that's what you're supposed to do. When your people say things are not moving any longer, there is no need for you to stay there and pretend, you know. You just listen to the news of recent, a parliamentarian in South Africa, a South African parliamentarian. There is no problem for ANC. She resigned and said, no, I'm no longer with ANC. I'm no longer doing this thing. And there are millions of rands that are being paid to these people. But she gave it up. Our parliamentarians should not look at the peanut that they earn with La Republic Parliament. You can make money. There are certain things that you have to think about. If you cannot contribute, if you are not looked upon as a unique person, if your identity is in jeopardy, if you feel there is some sort of cultural assimilation or killing of your culture, cultural assassination, that's the right word, then you have to do something. You have to pull behind. Your people are telling you, we don't see this thing moving. We've never been the same people. We have tried, it's not working. We elected you to represent us. You're not being respected as our parliamentarian because La Republic feels, the people from La Republic feel you are a second-class citizen. You don't have anything to say. You are just 2 cubes of sugar that cannot do anything. And now our people are telling you that we are more than just 2 cubes of sugar. We are so strong enough to resist anything. Come back and join your people. And they have to listen. So they're doing the right thing, and that step is a change in dynamics, and it's a new level that is a fresh impetus in the struggle. It therefore means that the other parliamentarians must follow suit. They just have to do the gentleman thing. We are not ready to force people for something that is clear, something that you don't need to, even the night, you can see something at night, but this is broad daylight. Things are very clear. We're not faking this thing. These things happen. People used to write our history upside down, and the historians that wrote our history upside down, they were rewarded for writing something, you know, that doesn't educate the people. Now we've gone back to history, and we are showing our youth that this is the right history. This is what we should be saying. And the population of Southern Cameroonians have come to a point of Southern Cameroon renaissance, that this is the reality. We now have to restore our freedom and dignity.
we have to restore our independence. And our parliamentarians, I will congratulate Honorable Mbanda and Bello, but I will not acknowledge, just over-appreciate them, because they took so long to do it. But the others should not take long. They must just do the right thing, and let's move forward. They just need to pull out of that parliament. We don't have to force them. There's nothing happening there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick. Mr. Roland, we did this in 1954 when our parliamentarians in Nigeria felt that we were subjugated. Literally the same things that La Republic has done to our people over the past 55 years were happening in Nigeria. And our parliamentarians decided to walk out in an act of benevolent neutrality, that they're no longer going to participate in Nigerian politics. And they walked out and formed a parliament in Boya. Is that a possibility? And also looking at the events of today, with Honorable Mbanda saying he's no longer going back to the Parliament of La Republic, and F.R.A. leading the march from Bello. So your reactions to that?
I would want to say that you see, in the case of our forefathers, we were not yet part of this very intoxicating system of La Republic, you know. And hence you had here gentlemen with a heart, gentlemen who made decisions that were pure, that were straight, that were based on the good interests of their people. And it was easy for them to leave. Today we have a group of people who have put self-interest in front, and even more worse, they have learned the tactics of La Republic, and you would find out that a parliamentarian who is a representative of the people and is supposed to represent the interests of the people goes to Parliament and sees Parliament instead as an opportunity for him and his family, and hence it's a money-making scheme, you know, and hence it becomes difficult for these guys, even when they know that their own people have already rejected everything that has to do with La Republic, to move away because they are connected to what they are getting as opposed to the will of the people. And this is really where I would want to say that a lot of these parliamentarians from southern Cameroons really need to rethink, and most importantly, surround themselves with proper advisors. Why am I saying so? Even if we say that politics is a game of interest, any wise politician would know now that your interest is in siding with the people of southern Cameroon, because it is very clear that Cameroon will never be the same. So what's the point for you today? Who will elect you still sitting in parliament in any election to go back to the Republic in the southern Cameroon that you see today, where millions of people come out under guns and are saying, no, we don't want? It will not happen. So even if we had to forget about the issue of citizenship, of nationalism, and we just said, okay, go along with your self-interest, since that's what you know. Let that self-interest guide you to say, you know what, these people have refused, so let me rather leave this parliament and come and be with them, because this is the self-interest that would benefit me. Otherwise, I would want to congratulate Honorable Mbanda and Honorable Bello. And though, like Conrad Ayuk said, they were late, but then, in a system like this, we need to give credence to the guys who finally do the good thing, who finally do the right thing. And it is important that we understand that it is a huge risk on their part to do this, you know. And hence, for them to even get to that point, would have told you that they are sure beyond reasonable doubt that the people of Ambazonia are gone. They know that. And hence, any other parliamentarian who remains in parliament, this issue of forcing people, I'm not even interested in it. I've never entertained it. Let them remain there and watch what the future holds for them. This is not a prophecy. It's reality. It's waiting to happen. So it is in the interest of any wise parliamentarian today from Ambaland to say, you know what? My people are being killed. My people have suffered enough, but then I did not take notice of it. But right now, my people have made it the same people that elected me have made it very clear that they don't want this anymore. And hence, it is not in my interest or in the interest of the future of my children and my family to continue to stay here. I am going home until we know what the solution is. That is the honorable thing to do. Any parliamentarian who will not follow these credence, in fact, I'm expecting all the parliamentarians from Ambaland over the next 24 to 48 hours to resign.
You see, comrade, as it stands now, we are not doing politics in Southern Cameroon. What we are doing now, we are activists. We are doing what is every humanitarian agent needs to do to bring justice and to save lives. So we're not doing politics. After restoration, which means that we don't recognize any political party in Southern Cameroon. Any political, if you're representing SDF as a parliamentarian or you're representing the other groups, we are not identifying ourselves. Southern Cameroon doesn't recognize any political party as it stands. When we restore, we prepare the platform for progressive governance. That is the time that the environment is so good enough for politics to take place. We cannot talk group politics. When you say something, you are killed. You understand? Even our parliamentarians, they are not on their own. They cannot free to say something in the parliament without being tracked down. We want a free democracy where people have the right to voice their opinion, where people are participating in governance, where people have to hold leaders accountable. We have not been able to hold our parliamentarians accountable. And it stands, I want to emphasize on that. There is no political movement, the political activity that should happen in Southern Cameroon again. They know that is impossible.
But the
We
challenge
are,
now,
we are indeed, yeah, Ray, you had a reaction.
Yeah, you see, after the 1st of October, if any parliamentarian should go to Yaoundé,
That's his business.
we are going to disown you.
Yeah,
And if you go there, you stay there.
that's true.
Because you see, you can't go there, because what happens is, if you go there, it seems like you're representing me.
Yeah. And we take our ideas to Yaoundé.
And we are not represented by anybody anymore.
Yeah.
So after the 1st of October, we have to come up with our own, we have our laws of our land.
Yeah.
If
That's right.
we are going to excommunicate any parliamentarian who goes to Yaoundé after the 1st of October. People like Honorable Bandam have already seen that the freedom is already here.
Yeah, yeah.
There is no need for them to go to Yaoundé anymore. If the rest of the parliamentarians do not follow suit, especially someone like Honorable Wiba, I mean, then I don't see any reason why they should go to Yaoundé for any session.
And you know what is very interesting is that Bandam is the head of a parliamentary group.
yeah, and
Not
he's also
only
the-
in
he's
Cameroon,
al-
you know.
He's also the vice president of the Cameroonian National Assembly.
And he speaks volume. So
Yeah.
if he can say, no, I'm not longer involved until I understand the way things are going, things are very clear for me. It just sends a strong signal to people like Honorable Weber that have been vocal, but they have not making a precise decision. They've not taken a stand that, no, let's pull out of this rubbish in the name of a parliament.
Yeah.
They're in a jungle, you know, they have to come out, you know. And other people like Kawala, I heard the other day she's moving people from La Republic to go and talk to the people, you know, talk what to people. That is sheer provocation. We don't, I'm still insisting that we are not doing politics at the moment. And there is nothing, anybody going there to do politics is not welcome in Southern Cameroon. Because we have been doing the same thing for 56 years, the same kind of dirty politics. And they must understand that there is no democracy in Cameroon. There is no democracy. This is a democracy with strong leaders. And that when you have such thing, there's no democracy. And therefore, we want to produce democracy in Southern Cameroon. So we don't want them to continue to contaminate our system. We're cleaning the system. We don't want it to continue to contaminate. We want to prepare the groundwork. All of us here, we don't care about position. We don't care about anything. We are activists because we want change. We are change agents. And the people at home, the youths moving in the street, our Takamban, the women, they are change agents. They don't have anything to benefit. What they want is that they want to prepare a platform for the future generation. And to have a great Ambaperspective in future, it means that we have to work hard now. It means that even our parliamentarians, the so-called parliamentarians that are representing us, have to sacrifice. And what do? The only sacrifice that we are expecting for them is to pull out of that jungle in the name of a parliament.
You see, I like to sometimes put, because I sit and I wonder why is it that they are, because I'm sure they are aware of these things, you know, of these facts. Why are they not making that decision? You know, sometimes it's good to put yourself in people's shoes to understand what is going on with them.
It's politics of the stomach.
Thank you very much. And I'm saying because it's politics of the stomach, and they definitely are a problem to us being able to take back our land and create an environment where we can then do proper politics.
Yeah.
As much as we are waiting for them to leave, I also think that beyond the 1st of October, we must move from the point of waiting for them to leave and not only disowning them, like Ray said, but making sure that they are excommunicated from the land.
Yeah, we must make the land very vulnerable for them.
Today, the biggest of all our protests internationally will be happening at the UN headquarters in New York. and we are already getting live images from New York. We will be tuning to that once we are done with our reactions here. So I just wanted Mr. Roland as the coordinator for South Africa, SCACUF South Africa, and Mr. Ayok Patrick as the secretary, the executive secretary for SCACUF South Africa. Today we also had a successful demonstration in Pretoria in front of the UN, where we handed the UN a memorandum announcing our restoration to them on the 1st of October, which would be Sunday next week. There will be a lot of preparations leading up to Sunday. It is indeed once in a lifetime for every Southern Cameroonian. I'm just so happy it's my birthday. I don't need to celebrate any extra. I don't need to do extra party. It will be one big party.
All your birthdays have come to happen.
It will be one big party. So I'm waited for this day.
birthday.
Yeah, 1st of October.
Yeah,
so I've waited and waited. I've never celebrated a birthday, and now I am finally going to celebrate the birthday.
Don't take advantage of other people's celebrations. Bring by everything that you have to. Let's celebrate. Don't take advantage of this.
So I want to get final thoughts, especially around what happened in South Africa today. Mr. Roland, today we had a huge crowd in front of the UN building in South Africa. We sang songs of liberation, and we handed a memo to the United Nations. Maybe you want to tell our people in brief what was the content of our memo. And I also understand that it's the same memo that will be handed in New York, it's the same memo that was handed in Oslo, the same memo that was handed in Zurich today. So it was the same memo, uniquely signed in Geneva, signed by the governing council to be handed to the UN to put them on notice that on the 1st we are restoring our independence. This is no longer asking anybody to do anything for us. They're saying we Southern Cameroons, we have come of age, and that UN resolution that was voted in 1960, we are finally making it come to pass on the 1st of October by restoring our independence. What happened today at home, ignoring La République, ignoring the Jews, ignoring everybody, was a sign of that self-determination in practice. So tell us a little bit about Pretoria today.
Well, I must say, before I even say anything about it, I must say that I'm very proud of the Ambazonians in South Africa. It seems like God selected them, you guys need to go to South Africa, man and woman, because you are ordained to stand together and bring contribution to this Southern Cameroonian fight in a way that will ensure that we get to the promised land. That being said, it's not the first time that we're going to the UN. We went there a couple of times asking them to look into what is happening in Cameroon. And this time around, we did not go there to ask anymore. We went there to then inform them that on the 1st of October, we are restoring our independence. Nobody gives you independence. And hence, as South Africa, we came out in our numbers. We were led by the Takumbang, and to see the Takumbang in South Africa should tell you that even our women, coming from a society where women usually would have been oppressed even more than men, and that is why in Ambazonia we talk a lot at the Future Ambazonia, we talk a lot about women empowerment. They are coming out and they are saying, no, we cannot keep quiet anymore. And it's not only happening in South Africa, it's happening across the world. We came out in our numbers, and we were received by the United Nations, and the memo was submitted they promised us that it's going straight to New York. And as South Africa, there's a lot of other events post this that we will be doing, building up to independence. We are lucky to live in South Africa, a country that fought for freedom than any other country in Africa of late, fought apartheid and won. And hence, we live in a country where we have organizations that were part of that, and people that were part of that freedom fighting of apartheid that are still here. And a lot of them have heard our stories, and today we are honored and we are glad that We have civil society and unions who are the ordinary people of South Africa in their millions now understanding the story of the Southern Cameroons and the oppression and the need for us to stand alone. And they are now coming to partner with us in order to take this fight to their government and ask their government, why are you not recognizing the Southern Cameroons? Because it needs to be done urgently. These are people who are being eradicated, whose culture is being assassinated, and these are the same things that happened to us during apartheid, and we cannot sit back and watch. And hence, in partnership with with civil societies like Right to Know, we will be having a solidarity tournament from the 24th to the 25th, and our Amber team, which is ready, would be playing against your Nigeria, your Zambia, your Uganda, your Zimbabwe, and that tournament would end on the 25th. And it would also be an opportunity for us to then cement this partnership and also allow South Africans, especially those that are coming from the civil society, to come closer, because we would have an opportunity to really sell the story of the Southern Cameroonians to thousands of civil society activists who are obviously connected to the doors that we need to open in order to make sure that we give recognition as soon as is possible. And then moving from that, we would then further, actually the good news is that South Africans have actually decided to go and protest at the Cameroonian embassy. I was informed today and I was like, wow, this is what happens when a people are resilient and peacefully fight for something that is genuine. You find South Africa saying, no, we will be going to your embassy, we want to go and ask them. And maybe you get up one day and they will tell you to take out the embassy out of South Africa because there's no need having a partnership with you if all you know is shoot down people who are peaceful protectors. Because remember, South Africa has the same history like Southern Cameroons, except it was white and black, but we have black on black apartheid. And then post that on the 1st of October, which is the big day, happens to be Derek's birthday also. Happy birthday in advance.
Buy cake, buy chop. I will buy buy cake, buy chop. You can't chop the studio.
In South Africa, we are planning a huge march. It will be thousands and thousands and thousands of people. This will be Southern Cameroonians, it will be South Africans, and we'll be marching to the Constitutional Hill. Now, for those who would not live in South Africa, the Constitutional Hill is very symbolic. When you hear the name Constitutional Hill, it should only tell you that this is the place at the heart of the democracy that you find today in South Africa. It has a history that is deep, from imprisonment of fighters to declaration of freedom and all of that. And we've been allowed to come and declare our own independence at the Constitutional Hill in South Africa, and that is very powerful and symbolic and speaks to the partnerships that we've been talking about. Because post 1st of October, we are a full country and we want to start engaging with diplomatically in every way as a full country. We're not waiting for anybody because we've decided that we've restored. Restored means it's restored. And hence we'll be having this huge march, and what we're going to do in South Africa is that we will have one of our oppressed Amazonians, although we are all oppressed, dressed up in our colors and chained up, and we would march in front as we've been chained for 56 years. And when we get to Constitutional Hills, the chains will be broken, and we will read our declaration of our independence in South Africa. And from then onwards, as South Africa, we will begin to represent the interests of the Republic of Southern Cameroon and Ambazonia and proceed from there in building our nation. And I think that is the summary I can give for now.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. Yeah, AS, you conclude, because we are going to go over to New York and watch the demonstrations in New York. We know that the chairman will be there in New York live as well today. So, AS. Okay, yeah, as this country coordinator has spoken, we have a lot of things, and I will just highlight on certain things, like the soccer tournament that is taking place on the 24th and 25th. Actually, that is Heritage Day celebration, Heritage Day in South Africa. And you know, heritage means people are celebrating their culture. And culture is a very rich product for a people. It's part of your identity. And they are celebrating it in solidarity with the Southern Cameroon people, because our people are facing what is known as cultural assassination. So the people of South Africa thought it is normal, and this is usual, that when people are in problem, the others, as far as the Ubuntu spirit is concerned, have to come together and to be one. You know, one for all for one. That's just part of the Ubuntu
ideology. And secondly, the other thing after the tournament, wherein the Southern Cameroon team, the Doves of Ambazonian will be competing with the Nigerian team, the Ugandan, Zimbabwe, and the South African team, and there will be a lot of things happening. That is just a period of sensitizing people, gathering momentum towards the 1st of October, which is the day that we will restore our independence. We will restore it, and whatsoever thing they can do after that, we don't care about it, which means when we restore our independence, it means we have concluded, we have officially declared that we're a self-governing people, we have our self-determination, and then we can move forward. Then on that first, we will be marching to the Constitutional Court in South Africa. The Constitutional Court is a symbol of democracy. What we have in La République is a system full of constitutional delinquents. And therefore, we try to use the Constitutional Court as a symbolic arena wherein we are going to tell the world. And as the country coordinator said, there will be Southern Cameroonians dressed in chains, and we will be breaking those chains. Breaking those chains means we're breaking over, we're getting ourselves loose from oppression, we're getting ourselves loose from torture, and we are a free people now. So the Constitutional Court is a symbolic area. From there, we will be having the clearing of tears, which is on a small occasion at the Constitutional Hill, which is part of a symbolic arena in South African history, because the South African people, their democracy is a progressive democracy, one of the best in the world, that speak about freedom of speech, that speak about an independent legislature, that speak about the freedom of media and participatory democracy. We are going to use these areas as symbolic areas for us to send a statement that our people should start thinking, reflecting on the kind of governance that we want to introduce in the reborn Southern Cameroon.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that reaction. We are getting some alleged reports of another good news. The parliamentarian for Le BLM, that he has resigned. Those we will confirm during the course of the evening. We shall be passing, we shall be going straight to New York. You can see the crowds from the other screen. You can see the crowds that have turned out in New York. Our people have indeed turned out in their numbers. The parliamentarians that are left behind, I don't know what they're waiting for, but that is their business. We will ignore them as we are ignoring colonial administrations. We will ignore them as we are ignoring La République. So it is time for parliamentarians to either stick with the people or go after the money and change countries. It's up to them. I think there's a right to choose, freedom of association. They can choose where they belong. Yeah, so we will be moving live images directly to New York, where we'll watch the massive demonstrations to put the UN on notice. Most importantly, it's good that our people at home understand that all the demonstrations happening abroad today and this week will be to put the UN on notice that on the 1st we are restoring our independence. We are not asking anybody to give us independence because we already have that. We are restoring it on the 1st, and all we are doing is we are putting the world on notice that is what is happening on the 1st. So we will move images across to New York now. I hope our technical team is on top of that.
From there to Ishimbi, all our people to Nebialem, all our people came out. They said, today we are free. We are free. We are no longer commanded by La République. So who is our leader? Can I hear that again? So, my dear brothers and sisters, as you gather here, send the word back home that we are together with them. We have been supporting them and will support them till the day that we're able to shout and sing, free, free, thank God we are free at last. It's a very sad day because, as usual, the dictator and his evil regime, and our people have been killed.
Status. This revolution is about putting an end to a cycle of shame that our people have endured for generations. Stripped of their sovereign title, stripped of their sovereign government, stripped of the management of their God-given resources, treated as foreigners in the land of their ancestors, forced to dress, think, and live like peasants. This revolution is about ensuring that the next generation does not walk with their head down like we did, but stick their head to be called citizens of Amazonia, home of the brave, land of the free, blessed and prosperous. My people, with the faith of a mustard seed, there is no doubt in my mind that we as a people, united, will get, and that light keeps getting closer. So please, the fierce urgency of the moment requires that we intensify this struggle, defend this struggle, protect this struggle, and be patriotic to this revolution. We may enjoy the freedom and liberty in America, in Europe, in Africa. But as long as our people are in bondage, we are in bondage as well, because we share the same Amazonian DNA. And that DNA will pursue us until we do something about it. So we have a duty to either fight and restore our freedom or die trying. Let it be known from now on to posterity that the people of Amazonia have risen worldwide. They have risen never to fall again. Amen. Mother Amazonia is 8 months pregnant, and the child she is carrying shall be called freedom. So prepare the dancers, prepare the town criers, prepare the drummers. Let the drums of freedom echo on the place of the Sabga. Let the drums of freedom echo on the hills of Mount Fago. Let the drums of freedom echo on the Matazem and the Mongo Bridge. Let the drums of freedom echo in every county in Amazonia. Because that dream must be fulfilled. That dream that was born here in New York, that one day we shall all take place and gather at Bongo Square in Boya. Celebrate that freedom. I have a dream. We will build a modern society with skyscraper country. Of Amazonia will at the end requesting visas to come to our country. So we have to fight to make sure that our dream becomes a reality. So if you believe, we'll repeat what Honorable Weaver said: when injustice becomes law, resistance. When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a beauty. We will resist. We will resist. We will resist till freedom comes. Thank you.
We are going to resist, and we are going to persist. We will resist until we get to Boya. Are we not in Boya today? Today, my people, did you see what happened in Boya? Did you see what happened in Manfe today? Did you see what happened in Santa today? Our people have spoken. So I'm going to bring one of the well-known lawyer, Barrister Bobga, is going to be the next speaker. Going to use the keys. Keep it short and simple. Keep it short and simple.
Fellow Amazonians, let me greet you in this morning mood. I think we are not here to address ourselves. We have spoken enough within our own circle, and we need to talk outside our circle. And in order not to be misquoted, I ensured that I scribbled the message I have for the United Nations through its Secretary General. Please, I'll be fast and you just listen carefully. Today, September 22nd, 2017, we are 9 days away from the date set way back in April 1961 for the independence of Southern Cameroons. We are victims of an illegal, unconscionable and continuous violation of our right to self-determination and independent statehood. Our predicament has been facilitated by non-respect of Resolution 1608, Roman 15, by the Club of Victors of the First and Second World Wars, through the instrumentality of the anti-peace and anti-human development agents lodged in the establishment of La République du Cameroon. The horrific situation that we resolved about a year ago to walk away from resolutely, but peacefully, has over the last 56 years involved a conspiratorial violation of both international law of the United Nations, the African human rights law, and tensions of the law and legality of La République du Cameroon. In demonstration of acceptance of the call for international relations to be anchored uncompromisingly on a foundation of peace, we Southern Cameroonians have shown violence as a means of addressing the injustices that we have suffered for all of the United States. We, however, use this occasion to inform the world through the United Nations Secretary General that while we shall never employ violence to wrestle ourselves from the Cameroon establishment that subjugates itself to an obnoxious accord de coopération dated 1961 with France, enslaves its own people, and proceeds from there to be part of a heinous conspiracy to block access to independence of the Southern Cameroons. We are resolved more than ever to engage in self-defense with a quadruple counter force on any occasion that the slightest violence is employed on us, our territory, and our resources. It is important to underscore and make this known to all members of the United Nations through the Secretary General that our resolve is firmly based on existing international conventions that were and continues to be the basis of the establishment of the United Nations and its operations, to wit, the UN Charter, the United Nations Bill of Rights, and back in the continent of Africa, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, and above all, the living conscience of common humanity are also relevant to our cause and position. We call on the United Nations to note as follows: to take cognizance of the fact that the trusteeship agreement between the United Nations and Britain over Southern Cameroon has never been brought to an end. On September 30, 1961, the eve of Southern Cameroon's Independence Day, the British ambassador to newly independent Republic of Cameroon transferred the sovereignty of the Southern Cameroons not to Foncha, the Prime Minister and head of government of the then internally self-governing Southern Cameroons, but to a foreign head of state, Amadou Ahidjo, of the Republic of Cameroon. This criminal act took place at Tico International Airport during the farewell ceremony given to the departing British soldiers and administrators of the Southern Cameroons. That per the United Nations records of vote tally on Resolution 1608, granting the Southern Cameroons independence by joining, La République of Cameroon voted, together with her French partners, against the passage of that resolution. That is to allow the Southern Cameroon access to independence. By this act, the Southern Cameroons accession to independence, and secondly, the idea of our joining them, only to turn around and accept to be facilitated by Britain to annex Southern Cameroon's territory. Subsequently, Amadou Ahidjo renamed Southern Cameroon as West Cameroon while renaming his own country East Cameroon. Those are all illegalities that persist till date. That since September 30, 1961, the constitutional history of La République du Cameroon has been continuously marked by manipulative amendments to justify the annexation of Southern Cameroons, which culminated by a complete return to the original Gaullist La République du Cameroon. I'm closing now. Our case does not require further litigation on the basis of the above facts, but simply the interpretation and implementation by the United Nations, which shall secure the exit of the administrators and forces of La République du Cameroon from Southern Cameroon, thereby restoring a stolen independence without the blue berets or anyone, for that matter, firing a shot. We demand, therefore, from the United Nations, assume
We are now at the Gwang Bridge, few meters away from the palace. The people want to show to the world that they want their freedom. 56 years of slavery. When the people rise, it will not be easy to control them, as our hero, Honorable Weber, just said. We want our freedom. How many people for their working? That enough is enough. That they want their
Queen's Fund Palace, we are at the Queen's Fund Palace, so that the fund tellers want to talk to the founder now. We want to get respect again from any of the colonial SGOs and GOs. This is the Queen's Fund Palace. This is the population for the Queen's Fund Palace. People are many there. They don't want to get anything from the Republic colonial regime. Oh, this is quite hard. I love this. I love this. Ambazonians are ready for freedom. Ambazonians are ready for freedom. Ambazonians are ready for freedom. I like this. I like this. Max Adanga, I think Marcellus, you can feel me. I tell him Marcellus, you can feel me. I tell him Marcellus, you can.
Yeah, another flag has been posted at the junction entering the Ambaperspective Palace. As you can see, the Amazonians are jubilating that they have taken their destiny in their hands.
I'm going to disappear. Behind empty speech, that empty this room. No, have you video day? No, video day, no, video. Yeah, that behind video, that's sure.
So that means spokesman come.
Yeah. Spokesman is spokesman, this is video. Yeah, even now we do single show, I do the video with them. So we can do like the show. Once I use the time. You know, spokesman. What does it mean to do something? Very strategic.
Welcome back to studio. We are so sorry with the quality of the video coming in from New York. It's breaking. So we've decided to cut that live feed, and we are doing so because the spokesman for Africa, Mr. Milton Taka, is also in studio now to brief our people back at home. We will be getting the feed from New York. We will try to get a better quality video, and it will be live. Before the chairman would address the people there in New York, we will have that live. But we will bring up the spokesman for Africa very soon. So we are getting unconfirmed reports that the parliamentarian for Libialem County has also resigned. We are hoping to get confirmation of madams as well during the course of the evening. And the question, what are the other parliamentarians still waiting for?
What are they doing?
Haven't they seen that the people have spoken? Haven't they seen that the people have decided?
Maybe they're taking long to notice how serious.
So it's very clear that we Southern Cameroonians will go our separate route with or without the parliamentarians. So it's now the ball is on their court for them to choose right now. And like Chairman is always saying that La République has the choice now to choose who would separate, as good friends and be good neighbors, or will separate as enemies and live like Israel and Pakistan. So and Palestine. So it is a choice for them to make now, but very soon it will be our choice as an independent Ambazonia, and it will be based on the treatment that we have gotten from La République. And also, I want to extend that and say it will be based, the treatment that we will give our parliamentarians will be based on their reactions to the people's cry now. If you have been voted by people in your community, that community is going out clearly that they want to liberate themselves, and you are sitting in your glass houses with your many cars like Ekema Mboya, whether he's a car salesman, he has a car dealership. He has a fleet of cars. Somebody who never completed secondary school has got a fleet of cars. That's a kind of system that fairness can never thrive in, where people, non-entities like that, can steal their way to the top and be rewarded. Imagine, after all the discoveries about Ekema's falsification of school documentations and a doctorate degree, he's still being rewarded. That is his house, the images of his house with over 5 cars. That's somebody who falsified a doctorate degree from the University of Boya right next door. The university hasn't done a thing. The government hasn't done a thing. Yet he lives in Boya. He is still mayor. My brothers and sisters, if you want to remain in this system, I don't know if your neck is carrying your head. The system of La Republic is a rotten system. If we stay in this system, there's no way we can fix it. How does somebody like Ekema still live out of jail? With people like Penn Terence in jail, people like Mancho BBC in jail, who are genuinely fighting for freedom, and somebody who is clearly a thief is walking the streets as a mayor of a town. It is indeed a disgrace. So before we come up with the spokesman for Africa, Mr. Taka Milton, we will just get a last round of remarks from our guest in the studio. Mr. Roland, on everything today, you've seen the population in New York. I think we are looking at about 1,500 to 2,000 people there in New York. I hope I'm not overestimating. It cannot be exaggeration.
Okay.
When you look, it cannot be underestimating.
Yeah, I hope I'm not exaggerating or underestimating them, because I see it to be much more than that.
So Roland, your overall remarks today before we give room for the spokesman to go over the day.
The people have spoken. It's as simple as that. The people have spoken, village by village, family by family, county by county, across southern Cameroon, both at home and in diaspora. And hence, the only thing that I would say here is that maybe if Mr. Bia is being misinformed by, I've always said this before, that I have a feeling that the people that are surrounding Mr. Bia are not giving him good advice or getting the real picture. Because I don't see any head of state who would see this and not say, you know what, it's time for me to call back the Jews and the oppressors that I sent there, rather than to wait for us to chase them out. Because clearly we are in control of our territory. Our people have already turned their backs and gone even before 1st of October in their hands. The president is already restored. So how do you then even begin to imagine for 1 second that you can reverse this? It's irreversible. It's just irreversible. And hence, I would just want to continue to tell our people home that you've come this far, and you must be resilient. You must make sure that you are each other's keeper. The most powerful word that we have as Amazonians is that we are united. It is this unity that is confusing La Republique du Cameroon. That unity must intensify as the key more and more of us. Families must stick together, neighbors must become families, even people from afar must become families, because it's all for one for all. And if we stick with that mentality and we continue to fight as we've been fighting and intensify it moving forward, very soon we'll all be in Boya celebrating, and a lot of these sacrifices will then get into the history books on diluted, so that our children would know exactly how we arrived here. So after watching the events of today, as an Ambazonian sitting here today, I can't wait to get to Boya. In fact, I'm thinking I should be on the 1st of October. I should actually be in Boya, because that would be the right place to be, you know. But we all have to do what we need to do, and the way we need to be, and do what we've been doing, so that we ensure that our people become free. And just one last thing, this is to the parliamentarians, all the parliamentarians that are coming from southern Cameroon, that if you don't go back home, history would really remember you in a very bad way.
Thank you, Mr. Roland. The only thing I can say, I personally have been overwhelmed by the reaction of our people. But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, you know. It's part of strategy, part of that passion to free yourself. It is part of the spirit of making sure that you break those chains that have been existing for 56 years. And we are tired of this system that brutal people are being checked for killing, and we are tired that we are in a regime that corruption is not accountable, and we are in a regime that darlings of the brutal system can just kill with impunity. That's what has happened at Kema. How comes the Kema will just kill somebody, shoot a protester, an armed protester, and very soon they will start using their victims as a self-defense. That is not an aspect of self-defense. People protesting, asking for their rights. And the DO that shot two people in Mafe, and we can assure him that the people of Ambazonia, he will never go free. I don't think. He just have to migrate to where he belongs to, and that is La Republic. We will never cherish that. We will never support that kind of brutality. And the time has come for that our people have just decided that enough is enough. I will just borrow from one speaker from New York who just said, I think the revolution is highly pregnant. You know, it's at a level that we are expecting baby Ambazonia very soon. And therefore, our people have to keep that resilience. They have to continue sacrificing. We are right there, and we will keep on pushing. There is nothing. And a point of there is nothing that will stop us. Even Bia knows that he cannot stop us. Look at what happened at the United Nations today. The whole hall, the auditorium was abandoned because everybody, any right leader with the right senses recognizes that we cannot engage with brutal dictators. And therefore, Bia, you are not qualified enough to address us. You belong to the jail. You belong to where criminals are kept, not with the United Nations. And that is why you found, we noticed a very empty auditorium there. There's nobody to listen to about a moron. Yeah. And now, before I conclude, the thing we have to do with our parliamentarians, we are asking them, we are telling them that it is high time they move. And they have very limited time for us to listen to them again. Our people are getting out of, patience. They are going to force them, if they don't want to do it in a deliberate way, we're going to force them to succumb to that, because that was the right thing that they have to do. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We want to thank our guests. Some important announcements before our spokesman set up in the studio. There is some reports coming home that La Republic is planning massive arrests tonight. Now, the safest place to be would be that people should band together. Hope people have their whistles at home, and if anything like that is happening in your community, you have to blow your whistles, and everybody has to be prepared to come out. We are getting unconfirmed reports that the duo of Manu, who shot and killed one of the protesters today, have been chased out of Manu. And that is the way, he has been chased out of Manu, and that is the way to go. We, the people, have reasoned, we, the people, have decided, and any other occupational force that is in our land, that is not living according to the laws of the land, and is not respecting the people of the land, must go.
Yeah, today has been an exciting day, and I want to thank most especially our brothers and sisters in Amber Land who gave us the courage to come out in our own numbers in wherever we are. And I just want to remind the other parliamentarians who are still not sure where they belong to make up their minds, because we are not going to tolerate any one of them leading to La Republique Parliament to represent anyone, because none of us want them there. And also, I would like to send a special thank you to my people in Benin. Like I said, over the months, I've not seen a single picture or heard anyone from Benin come out to tell us what is happening in my village. And today, I saw them. I saw them come out in their numbers. They went to the Gendarmerie depot and they took down the Republic flag and hoisted our flag. And I think this should go to our brother, our own son who is in jail, Pen Terence. We are the Pinyin people have to, even if it's for Pen Terence, they have to fight. They have to come out in their numbers and make sure that we fight for him because he is one of ours. Not just that, we're going to support and fight for every other person that is in jail. In the human ball, Bomutishin, Ndo, Mulamo, Denibia. Law, look at Pemla, ni Pampignan Zongo, but she number part of Southern Cameroons, Copper Tumanzum, Apamia, Zong Amwoper, the Papa Funasin, Continuum Numulamo, and Tunjimashon Lala, Dumapon, Sintism. Awani ngulon chi nya shon la pezu mi aka mopo ni continue bon wo per kwile la ngbo la republic ta bo pino yesin mia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Very romantic language.
Thank you so much. I feel like good to be I feel like good to be for that reason.
So we'll start with this. We'll talk to the people of Manu, and I'll talk to the people of Tom, then we'll jump to all and we'll conclude with the people of Bafo.
Manu, Manu, Canton. Nana Rebuzane, say, Ayo Kotiti. Our Mbako Kamanyu Abe, Nzi Dio, Kamanyu Aye. Nkwabe Kobama Manu, Agime ya Nabrembarako. Kobama Manu Munse, Enorzi, Are Nozere Pepe, Are Nonzurema, Yese Bochi, Jankumanano. And Kikuban Pepe Baru Kayateke yi, and a Fokaberu Kayateka Fumabayo. Elu Kayateka Noronzi. A Oching Warabo, and a Chanako Quad Book. A Fokabe Matikazere, a Fokabe Forza attack. Ukuban Titi, our Manu.
Thank you, yes. Okay, so I talked to the people of Boyo. Tujumana, Mangu for one com, so now listen, Boy resident enough line for March. On fire on the Evaristus John Tuni, fasten the line, Tangati, but when on the parliament. On this Evaristus now linked the Unaka, now I was a king, now Unatime, and Asi, the Mawaka Lukalaya Undi. Na wakali sundusus da parliament na Cameroon wana krana wandugu venyeng delo kombi wa wibam mfo ayong na nomo sunda to ni fanga no line so to a true governing council mbesi delo komna angana kra na delo na ngan lead resistant delo governing council na e bom den da mo close anga mo fight kra ko no kra na ngan ke oza ngani krana angan ke silie na sundugu no promise land so chota anomunda aga bulu ante trouble la fe di life na buz nomunda zawaru kunanga zawaru wenda zawaru na wana za struggle la fe bom de na liberate la na fighter bom komila ayam na ke
besta bobun di bonu bobun babu chimi bichi la bu fama cha tu mana handro tu shi ma jima bu fa ebe shi kundo tu ma jima long ne no cho yuan kan dan jum loma cho bari bichi right anti independence wa ta po bia kan kui kapine kan developer ala ina chinin together could don't together. One to Chile and to maybe win more already. We have been winning La Abra Mabutunji in Gangan Kanualan, Wacham, Galka, I don't know more in a couple boa. So, time is 30 with you one by one. What each other having a tone to together to be thousand long with the opportunity to come in a category slave robber and in a proud. Allah la akan kui so be min loma la akan kui bi ne jonjo kan loma an cha ate ke gambo parliamentarian yi na fusi honorable sinamu ko ma afa fushi anga ma no do ma ba acho no ma acho a good decision ma ta bunji inchi te yi na loma ma jim yo ya bi fa ma fa ma ci na bi yen fa ci jim fa parliament a fa isrin la bo chon no ko mo ci chong ma ta ma tu ngang la bu fu bo ci tabi ina cho ba bi ma bi len to parliament ci together compare independence ina data la ina kan bon kan ren bi ma cha tu ci bu chum
yeah. So on that note, we say goodbye. Our spokesperson for Africa will be on next.
We will turn the images to New York.
Yeah,
while the studio opens for the sportsmen in Africa. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy the evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fellow Amazonians, fellow Southern Cameroon. We make this video because we have heard disturbing news coming from home of the killings by the senior divisional officer of Manfe, of Manu, that he has shot 2 people. I am by this asking our people, when we were small, there's something we used to call citizens arrest. And if the person who's supposed to ensure order in my division has decided to become the killer, I'm asking the citizens to arrest him and take him to the office, to the chief's palace. This would apply in all the regions of southern Cameroon. Anybody who's perpetrating violence should be arrested by the citizens, and because we have no faith anymore in the authorities of the forces of disorder that Mr. Biya has stationed in our region, we are asking the citizens to arrest anybody who causes disorder, especially killings and brutalizing people, to be arrested and taken to the chiefs and the Fon's palace. I am also by this asking our people that the young men should stay in the Fon's palace and the chief's places until we give them further notice. We are asking them to stay and surround the Takumbans who are there, because we are going to continue this struggle until our children and our brothers and sisters are released. They will stay there, and we are asking the younger mothers, when they go home, they should prepare food. People should take food to the young boys who are staying at the chief's palace. Food and drinks should be taken to them. They are going to stay there until we get to the next level. We want to thank everybody. We have seen the images. This is meant to be a non-violent, a peaceful demonstration. We are going to keep it that way, but the law of self-defense is a human right, and we are asking our people to continue to keep this peaceful and non-violent. But anytime anybody infringes into their rights, into their peaceful demonstration, citizens should arrest that person and take to the chief's place. We are already watching how our parliamentarians are reacting, and we want them to continue to understand that the voice of the people will be supreme. Our people have spoken, they are speaking in very loud terms, and we expect that from the parliamentarians to the senators to the chiefs. This is the moment that everybody must back out and say they are siding with the people to walk out of La Republic. The people of Southern Cameroon are speaking, and we know that we are heading to Boya.
the day the Lord has made. Yes. Democracy has never been given on a platter of
Hello and welcome. It's so nice to see you all here. I'm Wendy Blum. I'm the Executive Director of Lowell Telecommunications Corporation in Lowell, Massachusetts. And I'm so pleased to be able to host this panel discussion on discrimination and human rights abuses that are going on right now in Cameroon. We certainly stand by our Cameroonian neighbors here in Massachusetts and around the world, and with those Cameroonians who are actually suffering from this abusive behavior in Cameroon. We live on such a small planet that's so interconnected that human rights abuses that take place anywhere around the world affect us as well. And so I am so pleased to learn more about what's going on in Cameroon, so thank you so much, F.R.A, for setting up this panel. And thank you all for participating. Now I'd like to introduce Readers here, who's a Lowell City Councilor, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Wendy. You probably summed it all up, but I'm here in support of your fight to take back your country, so to speak, and to try to diminish the horrific abuse that's being dealt out in your country. I know that people come here to escape terrorists, to escape atrocities, but your heart is still back with those that you love back home. And so anything that we could do, as we did a couple of weeks ago when the City Council got together and formed a resolution in support of all that you do to tell them that we do not condone the atrocities and the horrific abuse that is being undertaken in the English-speaking portion of Cameroon, as well as Bamenda. And we are a sister city in the city of Lowell. We try to help those that are joining with us, and we just want to show our support and to help in any way that we can. I know that the resolution that was formed and signed and given a F.R.A at the City Council meeting will go to the ambassador and to the government itself, hoping that that might help. I know some time ago when Councillor Rodney Elliott and I, with a few others, went to Cambodia, we saw the atrocities that were going on with about 10 women that were incarcerated there. We saw that. We promised that we'd do all we could. When we got back to the United States, I had a meeting with Nikki Songus. Rodney contacted Hillary Clinton, the Secretary of State, and they were released about a month later from prison. So don't think that this is an effort in futility. It certainly is not. Things can be done, and we join forces with you and try to help you in any way that we can. You have been good citizens in our city. We think the world of you. This is a city that is very, very rich, not in financial money, but in ethnic diversity, and we do all we can to help people. So the Lowellians' hearts is with the Cameroonian people. So thank you for letting me be a part of this discussion and to show our support for you. Thank you very much.
My name is Mehmet Ali. I'm a former diplomat with the U.S. State Department, served in Iraq and Afghanistan for 5 years. I'm very interested in international relations. I currently work at the University of Massachusetts Lowell Library, where I'm the assistant director. And I'll be moderating today's panel. So I want to welcome our esteemed guests, professionals who have a lot to say about this issue and are very knowledgeable. So first, I'd like to introduce to my immediate left, Gerald A. Tabi, who was born in Mamfe, southwest Cameroon. Gerald is the current president of the Cameroon Social Club, position he's held since 2014. He's also the president and CEO of A&E Property Management. He holds a master's in finance from the University of Massachusetts, Boston. He's worked as an investment specialist for the State Street Bank and Trust for 5 years before taking over his current position. And he's married to Magdalene Tabi, and the family has 2 children, Ariana and Ethan, and they reside in Brockton, Massachusetts. So thank you, Gerald, for joining us.
Thank you, Doc.
Our next guest is Dr. John Fobanjon. He's a professor of political science and public administration at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. He holds graduate degrees from the California Lutheran University and the University of Arizona. Prior to teaching at University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, he's lectured at University of Arizona, Wilberforce University, University of Maryland Eastern Shores, and Alabama State. Dr. John's areas of expertise are in civil rights, international relations, public administration, and public policy. Between 2000 and 2005, he was the director of the African and African American Studies program at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. From 2009 to 2010, he was a Fulbright Scholar, and in 2015, he was the keynote speaker for a U.S. State Department sponsored lecture at the National Assembly of the Republic of Cape Verde. So thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Our final panelist is Mr. F.R.A. Kimbeng, who was born in Mankon, Bamenda in English Cameroon. F.R.A. holds a degree in economics from the University of Massachusetts Lowell, a master's in MIS from Rivier University, and a management certificate from Boston University School of Management. He's been a community leader in many capacities. He's one of the coordinators of the African festivals.
Because we don't have much time, let me just run into the issues. I want to thank everybody for coming. You make my heart, I feel like crying with tears of joy. If ever anybody doubted our resolve to go to Boya, today has proven from here. Our people have spoken very loudly. From Manfred, from Wolves, we have spoken, and Mr. Bia must get the message. We saw the empty hall in which he spoke today, compared to the crowd that we have here. Compared to everywhere in southern Cameroon today, we have seen our people. We are on the last bend. We are on the home straight to home. Boya is calling, and we are going to get to Boya. Now, we have been informed that they did not shoot our people today, even though 5 have died. And by the way, I think I will just pause here. Let's just give a minute to those who have borne the ultimate sacrifice. May their souls rest in perfect peace. So when we compare the events of today, this is going to be a milestone in our journey to Boya. Nobody thought this was possible. They have threatened us. They have fought us. But like one person, we have stood because we are going to win. Let's get to Boya. It's a question of when, not if. Today we have proven that it doesn't matter what Mr. Bia says. We have only one place, one authority that we listen to, and that's the Governing Council. Because you have given the Governing Council the authority, and I'm humbled to be the chairperson of that Governing Council, we are going to give some very firm instructions going forward. As from today, none of our boys will go back to their homes to sleep. As we started this journey, we must end up in Boya. Because there are plans from Mr. Bia to arrest our boys in the dark. We are asking them from tonight, they must stay in the chief's homes. They must stay there in their groups because there is force in numbers. None of them will go home. I have asked the mothers to prepare food and take to the farms' houses and the chief's palaces. They are to stay there. This protest will continue tomorrow. It will continue the day after. And one thing is certain: if Mr. Bia does not release Mancho Bibi WC, Penterens, and all the people, we are going to step this up. We have come too far. We have come too far to turn back. There is no turning back. The only place we will end this struggle is in Buea. If Mr. Biya likes, we should start now to resolve the issues between two friendly nations. If he doesn't solve it now, tomorrow will be two very hostile nations. The choice is his today, the choice tomorrow will be ours. When I see crowds like this, I'm bothered. This is not where we should be.
That's right.
We are here because we have no place we call home. Yeah. But by your desire and the ability of our people back home, we have decided that we are taking our destiny into our own hands. The future of Southern Cameroons depends on all of us here. And because we have taken the future into our own hands, the laws of Mr. Biya do not govern our region again. So we are telling our people, the gendarmes and the police and the military people in our region will start packing out now. Yes. Because we are going to claim what is rightfully ours. Yes. We have insisted that this revolution is going to be a peaceful, non-violent revolution. We have kept it this way until now. But we can see the hand of Mr. Biya consistently pushing our buttons. That's right. We are reminding him that the right to self-defense is a human right. When we have to use it, we will use it to good effect. So make no mistake. The fact that we are watching and we are being very cautious and we are insisting on self-defense, on non-violence, doesn't mean that we can push too far. The proof is that for 56 years we've accepted this push. And this year we have said enough is enough. Yes. Those 2 cubes of sugar have refused to melt. We have come here to the United Nations today to demonstrate a shameful situation. The United Nations, in complicity with the United Kingdom, got us into this mess. And we're speaking loud so that everybody can hear. They must get us out of this mess, or we'll get ourselves out of this mess. So, Trump spoke the other day, and we know where his fingers were pointing. That's why Biya could not be invited for dinner. We heard what Mr. Biya talked today. Because he's consistently played the ostrich, because he's consistently not considered us as human beings. 10 months into a crisis he created, he could not even have the courage to mention it at the United Nations. He went around talking about climate change, for which he himself is not respected. And his house is burning. He was calling countries that are less in trouble than he was. So we are going to continue to stir this fire. This pot that will stir will not stop until they open the doors to Buea for us. So I'm really humbled that all of us came here. But we've come here because this is a cause that's bigger than any one of us. Yes. So I want to urge you all, as you go back to your homes, you have to hold your leaders accountable. You have to hold your leaders responsible. Yes. This goes to the chiefs. We have now entrusted the responsibility of our nation to our local chiefs and the funds. That's why I've asked a short while ago, I said anybody who causes trouble, especially the SDO are here, shot somebody and they came out. They should be arrested. Citizens' arrest is a right. They should not be taken to a police office or gendarme office. They should take them to the chiefs. We are going to start our institutions from now. While we do so, any one chief or parliamentarian who tries to betray this cause, we will throw that person under the bus. Yes. You have entrusted us with a lot of responsibility, which we don't take lightly. Any of your leaders, including your chairman, who tries to go against this struggle, because this struggle is bigger than any one of us. Any of your leaders who tries to go against this struggle, we throw the person under the bus. So, on that note, I want to thank all of you. Here we are running out of time. I want to thank all of you for coming. This is only the beginning of the end of Mr. Biya. We will not stop until we get to Buea. I want you all to echo your songs, go back to your homes with pride, with your heads raised up high, because you know your next destination is Buea. God bless you.
And I think the chairman is going to just stand for a second. I'm going to invite all the leaders of the various movements to come forward. Dr. Joe Ayaba for a family portrait. Dr. Joe Ayaba, 2.4. Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga. Boga for family portrait. Dr. Cho Ayaba, as we are getting here, quick announcement, there is going to be independent celebrations in Maryland on September the 30th. Mr. Mesno, Dr. Joe Ayaba, Mr. Christopher Mesno. I am going to get all our ladies for a family portrait. Where is Dr. Ayaba? Dr. Joe Ayaba. Big announcement. There is a follow-up meeting of the AGC this evening in Maryland at the Viking Center. As we drive out to Maryland, we are going to go for a follow-up meeting. Independent celebration on September the 30th. The dress code is black and white. I think I'm going to get to the SG. You're going to come. Dr. Cho Ayaba, while we are waiting for Dr. Cho Ayaba, the Secretary General of SCACO, Mr. Milan Atam in the house. 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 All the leaders of the various movements, we're going to get the family portrait. Dexter, are you getting us? Where is Brinsley? There should be a family portrait. Next, we gotta give a little bit of space for a family portrait. Can you meet them up? Or you can come in right back. Okay. Where is Ebenezer? He's not here, okay. Do we have the portrait? Do we get it? Dexter, can we get a good shot of the leadership council? Ray Baba in the house. Ray Baba. Okay. Okay, there's going to be a place that we give a little bit of space so that we can get a family portrait. This is a moment in our own history. This is history in the making. Metro, how many folks are in the house? Metro, how many folks are in the house? This is a historic moment. This is history in the making. This is history in the making. Please, let's give some gap. Dr. Liz Ambe. Dr. Liz Ambe. Miss Kalesh Mongo.
Hurry up, guys, hurry up.
We have the women wing in the house, the RCW. We have the RCW in the house. Okay, let's move for a family portrait. Okay, let's move for a family portrait. Please, let's give some gap. Please. Alright, some people are going to be, please, too low, we gotta move. Security got to move. No, we gotta move. Please, we got to move. We got to move. Do we have the shot? Please, let's give some gap. Please. Thank you, please. Thank you. Thank you to all the photographers. Thank you. Please, quick announcement. There is a recall election for all the parliamentarians. Go online and recall the parliamentarians. There is registration ongoing now on skakoof.org. Go online and register on skakoof.org and pay your citizen dues. We got to move this struggle forward. Thank you to all the photographers. I think you're going to doing well. Thank you to the chairman.
Thank you to the chairman's delegation.
Hello. I'll be doing a briefing in this area this night.
Thank you. We're going to sing. It's an APC meeting in the parking center. We sing before the chairman leaves. No more. Good.
Go straight. No. Come on. This way. Let's go straight.
That is His Excellency Sisiku Tabe, Chairman of the Governing Council of Southern Cameroons. After having given a very, very powerful speech to the people of Southern Cameroon as a nation in Ambazonia as a motherland. Reporting for SCTV Southern Cameroon Television, this is Next Brains, live at the United Nations.
live at United Nations. Now he's giving an autograph. He's giving an autograph.
Love you. Love you. You can sign on my shirt.
Don't do it. Go anywhere.
Yo. Long live Amazonia. Long live Amazonia. This is where you know that a leader can be very concerned about his own people. This is where you know a leader can be concerned about his own people.
Let's move on.
Thank you. Long live the chairman.
F.R.A, thanks you. Thank you. Go find somewhere we'll put him, see. Oh, this is a laundry? Is that a bar?
You get, I did do a common life.
Okay.
You get any charge that power bank for people then
I'll check it. Give me a second.
Alright guys. Woo. Got that.
Godzilla, how do I show?
She wanted to be on the picture.
Who?
The white lady wanted to be on the picture.
And who is she?
Brothers and sisters back home today, I couldn't wait to wake up from my hotel room to come out here tonight. Once I woke up, I saw everything happen. That actually moved my spirit and my energy like 5 times full.
Right.
I'm extremely happy. I cannot wait to thank all of you guys back home.
Great.
Keep this fight going.
Great.
We would not stop.
Great.
We will get our independence.
Thank you.
From October 1st.
Thank you.
Mr. Bia needs to get out of our zone.
Thank you.
Keep doing what we're doing.
So you have something to say?
Thank you very much.
It's awesome. It's great. It's fantastic. It's hilarious when you look at the mammoth crowd that is here today to commemorate such an occasion.
All right.
And I think we are sending a message back home for human rights.
All right. Thank you.
Egregious human rights violations have been occasioned on Southern Cameroonians. We must put an end to it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Now I have to go to the reporter's ground.
Glory, we rise and never to fall. Yeah.
fellow Southern Cameroonians, we are overjoyed. My Ambazonian people, people of a beautiful land, what a day, what a day. In the northern zone, in the southern zone, in every single county in our country, in every village, in every town, our people did what many would call the unimaginable. We are celebrating you, especially citizens of Ambazonia in the homelands. Today has just been formidable. We hail you. We salute you. We move from the homelands into Europe. The story is the same. From Belgium to Germany to France to Britain to Spain, Finland, and the list is endless. We move from there to the United States of America. Citizens of Amazonia in the United States of America who converge from New York today. From the Governing Council, we send words of thanks. So much thanks. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. The chairman of the Governing Council, leader of our revolution, and president of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ambazonia, our country, just left the stage in New York, where he addressed our people in front of the United Nations General Assembly, where he sent words of thanks to our people, who indeed have come out as one man and shown that with unity, nothing is impossible. That with unity, Boya is indeed a certainty. His Excellency, we thank you and celebrate you for your courage, your wisdom, your determination, your foresight. The people of Ambazonia, members of the Governing Council, we've got utmost trust that you will take us to Boya on the 1st and nothing can stop that. You made a declaration for the 4th of September, the Passover day, with white pieces of cloth tied everywhere and whistles. It was almost 100% success across our land. You made a fervent call after listening to our grandmothers, mothers, wives, and daughters, that women must take the central stage of today, supported by their men. And indeed, Mr. Chairman, with that wisdom, we've sent a very powerful message to Yaoundé. We sent a very powerful message to Mr. Paul Biya. We sent a very powerful message to the Secretary General of the United Nations, to member countries of the United Nations, to all human rights organizations in the world, to all peace-loving people in the world, that the people of Ambazonia have spoken very loud and clear that they have taken their country back. Let's be careful that we are not saying that they want to take their country back, that they have taken their country back. Citizens of our land, from as early as 5 a.m., you rallied in Moyoka. The echoes were heard in Kumbu. That resonated across our national territory. And from village to village, from small city to small city, from big city to big city, our people came out in their thousands. Our women, the Takumbans, in their traditional ways, white garments with red headscarves, powerfully sending one solid message that it is over. It is over. And never again will Ambazonians, citizens of the Southern Cameroons, be the slaves of a criminal government in Yaoundé. His Excellency, that call has sent shockwaves to the presidency of Yaoundé, to the cabal in Yaoundé, to all their accomplices, like Issa Chiruma, who used to call our struggle an internet struggle, a struggle that's up. If they never heard the message very clearly, it is more than abundantly clear today that indeed this has been a fight fought from our hearts, from the depth of our hearts. It has been a fight that has been forced out of the pain, the suffering, the marginalization, the discrimination, the imprisonment, the intimidation, the kidnapping of our people over 56 years. Indeed, the foot soldiers of our revolution, led by our grandmothers, the commanders-in-chiefs, our mothers, the generals, our wives and daughters, across our national territory, have sent shocking waves that this was never an intended war. That to those who refused to listen to the voice of reasoning, the people of Ambazonia, the women, the men, the boys, the girls, the poor, the rich, the farmers, the taxi drivers, every single one of our people, they were on the streets today with whistles, with flags, Jesus. Some of them were just wonderful. Plastic bags that looked like our flags were declared flags until we send them out marked so that every house in Ambazonia has an Ambazonian flag. We saw our people who patched pieces of cloth that looked like our flags, just to make sure that they connected with the symbol of liberation and freedom, just to make sure that they connected with the nationalism of our country, Ambazonia. I saw the fun of Babisi, that daddy of ours, one of the oldest funds in the whole of Ambazonia, probably in his 90s, almost above 100, not being able to walk even with a stick, but being supported by palace guards, coming out with Takumbans, the royal guard, royal notables, and all of his people, just to record his name on this historic day. This same thing was seen in Lebielem, in Bulgaria, in Bambisi, in Ayumajok, in Moyoka, in Kumbu, in Santa, in Pinyimbi Akawaga Amporoporo, in Boya, in Bamenda, in Kumba, in Du, in Oku, in Limbe, Victoria, in Tiko, in Mutengene, in Mamfe. It was everywhere, everywhere, everywhere across the Ambazonian territory. Fellow citizens of Ambazonia, you've heard the leader of our revolution, His Excellency Sikwayo Tabi, send very special rights of thanks to all of you. He just reminded that the 2 cubes of sugar you refer to in your parliament have denied to dissolve. Yes, they have denied to dissolve themselves, and they will never dissolve. Indeed, the struggle has been moving from one height to another. What you call the insignificant number today has sent shocking waves across the world as an army of freedom fighters, from women as old as 9 to 6 years to boys as young as 5 and 10, because indeed our struggle is one that is noble, it's just, it's true, and nobody can stop it. Today was Takumbang relaunch, September 22nd, the day our mothers, through the governing council, sent a very clear message to Yaoundé that if we do not release all our people, we will be taking this struggle to the next level. It was a very clear message. Our grandmothers and mothers sent the message to Yaoundé to Mr. Paul Biya that if you understand what it means to carry a child for 9 months in your womb, and that child has been kidnapped unjustly, locked unjustly, not tried over 10 months, and you do not even know where the child is, and you hear echoes that some of these children have been killed. Indeed, unless you are a witch, you will have to come out even with bullets to ensure you fight for your loved ones. So from the Governing Council tonight, we want to take this opportunity to send a very strong message to those colonial administrators who sent out illegal messages banning the protests of today. Let us warn you that the people of Ambazonia do not take orders from La Republic du Cameroon. Talk less of small boys in the name of colonial divisional officers, senior divisional officers, or governors. Let us warn you that your days are over and numbered. The people of Ambazonia are giving you days. We are giving you days to take your leave, because indeed your welcome is now over. You have overstayed your welcome in our land. Ambazonia take orders from the Governing Council. We have shown the strength of unity, and it is for that reason that while the leader of our revolution addressed our nation in New York this day, Commander-in-Chief Chua was there. Comrade Bohabet was there. Indeed, we had so many of our leaders, including Dr. Akwanga. That is to send a very strong message to Yaoundé that the days you could divide us are now over. We control our country. We salute our people, the farmers, the taxi drivers, the Okada riders, the business people, the youth, every single Ambazonian was out today, who defied the odds of this criminal cabal, who showed bravery, resilience, resolve, determination, so that we deliver a very successful Takumbang relaunch, supporting our brave Commander-in-Chief grandmothers. Make sure you call them that as they are requested. And our mothers, the generals. We salute you, we thank you. Today was wonderful. Today indeed showed that unity is strength. That Ambazonians must unite even more than they have done. Let's remember, as it is said, that it is a tree that follows a forest. A forest does not follow a tree. And from the Governing Council, our doors remain very open. It is not too late for you to turn away from the sad path you have taken. So yes, we send a very strong message to all of those that have pronounced negative sentiments against our people. All of you who have defied calls, all of you have shamefully sent your children to schools to be raped, to be mothered by the brutal security forces of La Republic du Cameroon. We say shame. Indeed, we say shame. Our people have sent a very strong message that we are in charge. We want to, from the Governing Council, thank all of you who put down the flags of the oppressor, La Republic du Cameroon, at police stations, at the different offices of colonial administrators, and hosted that of our nation, the proud flag of Ambazonians, the flag that went up and would never come down again. We salute you. We salute you. To all security forces, the police, the gendarmes, the armies, the bees, Those of you who understand that you are all slaves in Mr. Bia's ponds, that while he takes on long holidays in Switzerland, wasting taxpayers' money, while he allows his criminal cabal to steal and loot from that country, most of you earn salaries that are so low that you cannot even sustain your house. Talk less of sending your children to good schools. We thank those of you who understood this and who understand that the people of the southern Cameroons are doing the right thing. That the test for freedom and liberties is something that nobody can stop. And while you are giving orders to shoot at our people, you listen to your conscience, you kept live bullets within, and you release none of them. To any of these security forces that shot our people, we promise you we will get you. We promise you we will get you. With you, justice will serve its day. Someday. History will never forget you. We celebrate tonight, partly with joy, because the message is overwhelming. The message is too strong that came out of every village and town when our people came out at all costs. But it's very sad that while we're celebrating this, peaceful citizens, peaceful protesters were gunned down in cold blood by some criminal forces in our midst. Ekema, shame. Shame to you, Ekema. You are a disgrace to Mother Amberland. For a very failed person like you, for a sadist like you, who belongs in the deepest pit of jail, to have used a gun and shot down a peaceful citizen of Ambazonia, your own brother. Shame, Ekema. We promise you, you will get justice. Ekema, you can run to La Republic, you can run to Gabon, but we assure you, Ekema, that the people of Boya will ensure that you get justice. To the criminal divisional officer in Murphy, shame to you. The allegations are that you shot at least one person. Some of our news feeds tell us it is two. Shame to you. And if you are an Ambazonian, I trust the warriors of Murphy, I trust the peace-loving people of Murphy, I trust the great freedom fighters of Murphy, you will get justice. It's very sad that we lost one of our compatriots in Santa. We lost two in the land of the warriors in Kumbo. We lost two in Victoria. And we lost one in Bamenda. From the governing council, we are very saddened. We have some Ambazonian citizens, we ask our viewers and listeners to pay a minute of silence for these great martyrs of our struggle. May the souls of the departed rest in perfect peace. I ask all of you on Facebook now to type hashtag Free Ambazonia, hashtag Rest in Peace, compatriots, and hashtag the criminals will get justice. let it be known that the resolve can never be quenched. If you doubted it, today was that day. If you doubted it, the 22nd of September 2017 was that day. If you doubted our people, indeed this is the day. But you heard a very loud and clear message from our people that never and never and never again shall the people of Ambazonia allow the annexist government, allow the colonizer, La République du Cameroon to rule over us again. So as you listen to the voice of the governing council now, if you are an administrator in the southern Cameroons, we ask upon you to immediately desist from exercising your duties. You heard a very clear pronouncement from the leader of our revolution and president of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ambazonia, the leader of our nation, in thanking our chiefs and funds who welcomed our people in their palace, who addressed our people, who made a bold statement in front of our people this day, denouncing La République du Cameroon, paying allegiance to the Ambazonian people and the Ambazonian government and the governing council. The chiefs and funds who did the right thing today by making sure that they follow the voice of the people and not the voice of the corrupter. The leader of our revolution salutes all of you. He reminds you that in the days of the good Southern Cameroons, there was a house of chiefs, and that you should get ready to get back into your house again. But that within this transition period, when there is no La République administrator recognized in our land again, all chiefs, all funds are with immediate effect declared and entrusted the power as administrators and leaders of the land, the jurisdictions they control. We ask all our people from now going forward to take their cases and to listen to the instructions of chiefs and funds, because the governing council from now on henceforth will rule our land through chiefs and funds. We give a sound warning to all chiefs and funds who have not denounced allegiance with their own, to do so immediately. We tell chiefs and funds that in Ambazonia there will be no room for unaccountability. There will be no room for corruption. There will be no room for laxity. We are moving into a land of promise, where as an administrator your number is delivery. A road must be good without potholes. You have the power to call upon our people to come on the road for community service. And with the powers bestowed on you, our people will honor that call. If there's a dam and the dam needs to supply water to our village during this transition period, our people are there to serve you. You must remember that so long as you follow the will of our people, so long as you align with the people's revolution, you will enjoy the benefit of people power. Because as we speak, Ambazonia is ruled by its people. In the same vein, all parliamentarians that have resigned are with immediate effect bestowed powers to work side by side with the chiefs and funds in the constituencies to rule our people while they prepare to be formally enthroned in Boya come the 1st of October, when we restore our independence. We want to use this opportunity to thank Honorable Joseph Bandam of Batibo constituency, who has led the way by throwing the towel with La République du Cameroon, declaring allegiance with the struggle with his people, resigning from parliament and taking the lead and doing the right thing. Remember, a parliamentarian is the representative of the people. So how can you be a parliamentarian and your people have left a particular constituency and you still decide to keep yourself there as a slave? I want all our people to go on Facebook right away and do a hashtag forward Honorable Mbandam forward. Forward Honorable Mbandam forward. We have equally heard that there is a parliamentarian in the southern zone that is alleged to have equally resigned. The Honorable Member of Parliament from Lebielem. We will give final confirmation as soon as our sources on the ground send that news to the presidency. We equally want to use this moment to pay special tribute to Honorable Evaristos Njong of the Bello constituency, who was not only part of the March for Freedom today, he indeed led the march. The honor was in front while his people followed. We use this opportunity then and advise every member of parliament from the SDF party or the CPDM party that hails from Ambazonia to follow suit like these great men of wisdom and ensure they follow the people who voted them into parliament, who left that country. We're asking them to do that within 48 hours. And that will be from now till 7 p.m. Amber time on Sunday. All parliamentarians, representatives of the Ambazonian people, the Ambazonian people have left the Republic du Cameroon. We ask you within the next 48 hours to do the right thing. Resign publicly because it's the right thing to do. There's nothing illegal in you moving out of a house that you are sent by your people. The people have left. Come back into your constituencies and take upon the administrative role bestowed upon you by the governing council this day. Let no one undermine the will of our people. Let no one undermine the resolve of our people. Let no one doubt our resolve. The resolve of marching Trump family into Boya on the 1st of October. That will happen and nobody will stop it. So to our people in Lebielem, in Manyu, in Dian, in Boyo, in Bui, in Momo, in Fako, in Meme, in Kupe Maningoba, in Gokutunja, in Donga Mantum, we thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you again. You have indeed showed that these 2 cubes of sugar can never be dissolved. You have indeed showed that the home front, the homeland, all our people in all 13 counties, in all our cities, and in all our villages are indeed the true armies and leaders of this struggle. We ask you from the governing council to remember that we are a week away from our restoration. This is a time when you need to be extra vigilant. You need to be each other's keeper. We ask all of you, to ensure that you buy whistles if you still do not have them. We ask all of you to be your neighbor's keeper. Let no Ambazonian be kidnapped by any colonial force. By that token, we now ask all our people to play the role of citizen police. We ask all of you to make sure that the perpetrators of this arson, these murderers, these killers, these shameless idiots who killed 8 or 9 of our people today, make sure you arrest them. That's called citizen arrest. You've got the power from the governing council. Make sure you arrest them, take them to the palaces, and get them locked up. The governing council will further pronounce what we will do with those criminals. We equally asked all the commander-in-chiefs and grandmothers to stay in the palace with the funds and chiefs so that they are protected. Stay there, because Mancho BBC has not been released. Pen Terrence has not been released. Comrade Asa Patrick Dango has not been released. And many more of our people. Remember, we sent a message to Yaoundé that they had until today to release all our people. Otherwise, we're taking this to the next level. It is for that reason that we have pronounced the first set of measures. In the next few days, we will be announcing the next set of measures, as well as a clear program towards our restoration day, the 1st of October. We ask our people to stay tuned. But remember that Ambazonia is for Ambazonia. The message has been loud and clear. Our people are in charge. All our people are police. None of our people will be arrested. Anybody who stands against our struggle, we ask our people to arrest them to the palaces so that the laws of our people can take effect. Let's remember, it is our right to defend Ambazonia. It is our right to defend our land. It is our right to defend our people. Indeed, self-defense by international law is an inalienable right. Give nobody an apology when you defend yourself using every means possible. That is an official position. Our struggle remains non-violent. It remains peaceful. We continue to send a message to Yaoundé. Do the right thing. Succumb to the calls of the international community, the United Nations, the African Union, Amnesty International, and friendly countries, so that within the next few days, we can have a peaceful separation, so that we can stay as good neighbors. But we warn Yaoundé, if you continue to be stubborn, our people have told you there will be a wall. If you continue to be stubborn, there will be a very tall wall, and indeed, we will not be friends. We warn Yaoundé. We ask Yaoundé to learn lessons. Nowhere in the world has any brutal government using guns and bombs ruled people with force. Indeed, you cannot rule people without their consent. We ask Yaoundé that we doubted the resolve of the Ambazonian people, today is that day. The Ambazonian people have gone, and all we ask for is peaceful separation. But we warn Yaoundé that if you make peaceful separation impossible, you make violent separation inevitable. But the one common denominator is that there will be separation, whether you like it or not. But the governing council tonight would want to address those of our people who are still federalist and unionist. And the question we ask you, fellow Ambazonians, if you really love Ambazonia, is, do you really still want to be a slave? Do you really still want to be a prisoner? Do you still really want to live in a country where you're not allowed to dream? Where you know you will never become the president of that country? Where you know if you met a prime minister, it's a position with no powers. If you met a minister, some little unqualified person under you is put there to manage that portfolio while you are just a face. Do you still want to be part of a country where most of those who pass around as medical doctors bribe their ways into queues? Do you still want to be part of a country where most of those who teach your children bribe their ways into ENS? Do you still want to be part of a country where most of those who find themselves in the security forces bribe themselves to be big gendarmes, armies, and you name the rest? Do you really still want to be part of a country where it is normal for potholes to be on a road within every 5 meters? In fact, within a meter or two distant from each other. Do you still want to be part of a country where you've got police on the road who collect bribes, 500 francs on a spot? For 20 years, everybody knows, and nobody ever gets called to order. Do you still really want to be part of a country where when there are elections, the results of elections are doctored before the day of the election? That the people who rule you are not the people you want them to rule you, they're not the people you voted for. Do you still want to be part of a country where the people vote for a mayor and a government delegate is imposed on them? Do you still want to be part of a country where when people go out to march peacefully because they disagree with government, because they're unhappy with the services they are receiving, services they should be receiving, they are shot and brutally killed, massacred and named? Do you still want to be part of a country where mothers and girls are raped and it is a tradition? Do you still want to be part of a country where when students better services and are shouting no violence, no violence, no violence with green leagues, they are raped, they are pushed down to smoke and swallow sewage, shit we call it. Some are shot and killed very brutally. Do you really still want to be part of that country? We are telling federalists and unionists, it is warm at home. It is warm in Ambazonia. We, the nationalists, have stood for the truth from the day La Republique willingly bombed the last string legal union together. That was the 17th of January. We ask upon those of you who have not joined the March of Free Thinkers, the March of Free Liberators, the March of Free True Freedom Fighters, the March of True Patriots, to denounce the stance you have. Because indeed, those are positions that can only be held by celebrated slaves. We tell you that home is still waiting for you. Join your people. Join the overwhelming masses of our people in the northern and southern zone, in the 13 counties of our nation, in all the villages and towns of our nation. If you doubted the resolve of our people, today is that day. Join us today. Denounce your sick position. Because only a sick man was told in a foreign parliament that you 2 cubes of sugar must dissolve, must be assimilated and destroyed. Only a sick person who is only given positions and reminded you giving them out of favor will continue to support your slave masters. Citizens of our land, we thank you for your bravery. So as I close, His Excellency, the leader of our revolution, Sisiko Ayok Tabi, and all members of the government, send special thanks to all Ambazonian citizens anywhere in the world. Those of you in the homeland and those of you in the diaspora. Your sacrifices have sent a great message today. To those of you in the homeland in particular, we pay special homage to you, especially given the fact that at all odds, you defied death. You defied the brutality of this criminal government and went out to send a clear message that the Ambazonian people have spoken. And they'll continue to speak right through our Independence Day. We want to remind you that from now on henceforth, our chiefs, funds, and parliamentarians are home-based administrators. We want to remind you that our commander-in-chiefs, our grandmothers, will continue to camp in the palace until they hear further instructions from us. That our mothers must daily take food in baskets, our men must take drinks to go and support the Takumbans, our grandmothers, and the fund as they administer our territory over this period. That the boys must form vigilant groups and ensure that the palace remains guarded. We send a strong message that that's a palace. Make sure that the criminal forces of La République du Cameroon do not repeat their intrigues by burning down our palaces like they continue to burn down our schools. We ask those around our schools to be vigilant. We have warned that this is a peaceful struggle, and we don't want any burning and any shooting. We don't need it. Our freedom is guaranteed, and to any of you who doubted it, today was your day. To all our people, we ask you to stay tuned. The next set of days will be exciting. Very exciting. Our people will be listening from the leaders, your leaders in the governing council, the ministers that currently lead your different portfolios. Please remember that every minister, president or vice of our revolution for now is interim. Those are leaders in the transitional period. Those are the brave men and women who decided to take upon the ultimate risk to lead a struggle. Let's support them. Let's give them words of encouragement. From Edinau to Nguti, Mundemba to Babesi, Awutemba to Nwa, Bui to Ndop, Ngi to Bali, Bali Kumbat, Ndu, and the rest. Let's continue to give them support. Because indeed, these are great people. They will be coming to you in the course of the next days as we unveil the program towards our Restoration Day. To members of Parliament, we salute the brave ones who have joined the Wall of Fame today. We send a message to all of you who have not done that as yet, to make a choice within the next 24 hours. Choose La République du Cameroon or choose Ambazonia. The choice is entirely yours. And to all the young women in the diaspora who came out as Takumbans, we salute you. Thank you so much. You were so beautiful. You were so, so beautiful and wonderful. To all the men who supported them everywhere, we say thank you and thank you and thank you so, so, so much. That was wonderful. Fellow citizens of our land, from the governing council, as I close, we want to remind our people that you are in charge. We want to remind our people that people power reigns in Ambazonia, that while you continue to be peaceful, anybody who defies rules, attacks Ambazonian people, arrests them or shoots them down, we give you the right to arrest them, take them to our chief's palaces and funds palaces, and make sure they're locked up. Fellow Ambazonians, freedom is never given, it is taken. And today we demonstrated our will to take our freedom. Fellow Ambazonians, we have a few days to our Restoration Day. We ask upon you to stay the course. We ask upon you to continue to be ambassadors wherever you are, men and women. We ask upon you to continue to resist the oppressor. Let's resist the oppressor until our restoration is assured. We have never promised that the road ahead is easy, but we know that our determination is too strong, our resolve is too strong, and nobody can quench our thirst for freedom and liberty. As we move into a land of freedom and promise, we as Ambazonians stay connected to the will of the people, stay connected to people power, stay connected to our unity train, stay connected to SCACUF, stay connected to the leadership of the governing council, and we assure you that Ambazonia will be free finally on the 1st of October 2017. Long live Ambazonia, long live the Southern Cameroons, long live the brave warriors of our beautiful Amba land wherever you are. God bless you and good night.
Sacrifice. Thank you. Joe Tam. Ayuk Ote Ayuk. Fonyu Terence. Tangen Thomas. Fabiano Deco. Angwan Benson. Tabe Edward. Kisop Berton. Kechawa Silva.